Welcome, misfits, to this episode right here of Midnight Ranting. That's why I got that baby moon over there. Pantheism.
Focus, Newman, focus.
Focus. Pantheism versus atheism. Or rather, a discussion on a belief about the universe being a god versus not believing in any god at all. So come join us as we put the A's versus the Pans in the hot seat.
Let's do it.
I want to thank everyone for joining us out there on the inner tubes. It's amazing how they make it fit. If you're feeling fancy, don't forget science, exactly.
Yeah.
To like, follow, I had cool glasses. Do I have my science? Here we go. Science. Here we go, folks. It's straight up science. Like, follow, or subscribe, and hit that all button icon so you can get reminders to see our premieres or join our live streams. We're a skeptic channel, but after our opening statements, we'll be opening up the floodgates, or rather, the open mic, meaning anyone can join us and say what's on their mind. Hello, Mindy. We'll also give everyone the chance to have their own opening and closing statements, atheist or theist, liberal or conservative. Come as you are, just on the sheets.
And actually, now we have a regulation for that. Just to point out,
I know,
from God,
biblical regulation.
There is regulation for what happens when you deposit some of your seed on some clothes. Or on a woman, you know.
And if you think we're crazy, check out our last episode of Skeptic Bible Study.
It's in the Bible.
It's in the Bible, folks. We're just being biblical. All right. You can find our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman, which helps us make even more fun content, including awesome Patreons like K.O. Champ. Remember, Fat Thor, the Ripped Thor, they're both lovable. Either one. All
Jason
right.
Momoa.
Jason Momoa, I'll take them both in a hot tub. Anyway, Oz from the Atheist Round Table, which is now Tang. They're network grouped. But also Ian Davenport. It's to scale. I'm pretty sure it's to scale. But also a grumpy old. Damn it, YouTube! Damn it! You damn censors! You damn politically.
Are you on mute?
A grumpy.
Did you mute yourself?
No.
No.
Damn you, YouTube censors.
It happens.
It happens every once in a while. But also, 3 princesses in one.
Diane,
thank you so much, Diana Smith. Somehow this is still a heart. Thank you so much, Diana.
Kind of looks the same shape. Maybe after
and it's pink.
7 or 8 times hardened, it would probably look like that.
Well, I know. I think the Pharaoh's heart might be a little bit different. I think the Pharaoh's heart might look like Grandpa, which is a little bit different. Yeah, exactly.
Grandpa.
Yeah. But also, going back in history, thank you so very much, Pat. Somehow this looks like more Power Rangers, but archaeology. Thank you so much, Pat. But also, we're keeping skeptical. Thank you so much, Dale. Dale Pastel.
Pastel, yay.
We got the whole skeptic crew here. Thank you so much, Dale. And also, I keep on thinking I'll get a horse eventually, but I still think the world of you, Dave Gar.
Dave Gar.
Thank you, Dave Gar.
Never know. Next week you'll see a horse walking around behind there.
Yes, but not. I'm still waiting for that flying horse with the Muhammad thing. With the it's a bouquet. I can't even say it.
I mean, look, the horses and the zebras, they might have had a common ancestor. I think we all could agree with that.
Exactly.
But that doesn't prove that
maybe they died on the ark.
Hamsters grow off corn stalks. I mean, or the pine trees give birth to pigs. I mean, that's just crazy.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. Could you imagine us and bananas sharing DNA? Also, just about that, I want to remind the creationists the banana is the reproductive organ. So when you're like, we're related to the reproductive, yes, you have to look at the actual tree. You're related to the tree. Okay, never mind. Anyway, lead hyena, Scott Duke. Thank you so very much, Scott. Mwah. But last but certainly not least, Regos.
Our last
with my
one.
Shakespearean skull. Thank you so very much, Regos. And with that,
let's do it.
Do. Wait, I'm doing jazz hands. Jazz hands. Ha! Pantheism versus atheism. Is the universe a god? Then why not just call a universe and be done with it? Gods traditionally are these nebulous minds who don't want us to shove things into our butts. Now, I'm not hating, but I just don't understand the point. I'm open-minded, but I don't see how concepts like our consciousness tie to the universe. Yes, we are conscious organisms made from the universe. Thus, we are a piece of the universe that is conscious. It's super duper, 2 scoops and a hooper, cool. It does not mean the universe is a god. And in my opinion, religion, or the theism label, comes with a lot of baggage. Baggage that we don't need. The good bits, like community, charity, and seeking wisdom, can be found in secular manners. So, atheism is not a dirty word. We could be good, decent, hard-working human beings, not a god. It's true. We don't need to do all these gymnastics just to say we love all creatures on earth. See? 100% hippy-dippy and none of the bullshit. Ta-da! Thank you.
Voila.
So, how are you tonight, James? I know, right, Gizmo? How are you tonight, James? And are you feeling the universe inside you tonight?
Among other things, yes, I am feeling the universe inside me. So, hey, guys. So this was a debate. I didn't actually see it, that it was going to be on until today. But we saw it, so we decided to cover for an after show. I did get to watch probably about half of the debate. And I still really don't have a good understanding of what exactly pantheism is or what she was trying to argue for. It just seems very nebulous and very vague and not really much there at all. We did get lots of moments of comedy, and certain parts of it we actually, I think, went into the Twilight Zone. And I'm sure we've got plenty of notes that we could talk about that. So I really am anxious to hear what you guys have to say about it, what you guys think about it. I think T Jump had so much fun in this debate. This is T Jump's element. He really relishes discussions like this, where he's kind of just toying with the person like a cat playing with a mouse. But he seemed to have a good time. So. And Amy, the Jennifer, she also has an idea of what consciousness is. You're one of your
man,
you do that too, and she's got another idea. So what do you think about her idea?
I have lots of comments about her ideas. I mean, I'll say it a little bit. We're about to actually open up into the open stream, open conscious. We're having an open conscious here into the open mic. But yeah, it was interesting because I do not get the motivation behind, I think I have it written down, her exact, it's like something to do with photons. I don't get the motivation behind her version of consciousness. And we're probably going to talk a lot about consciousness. Yeah. It gets me so excited. And I wanted to tell you folks, if ever you feel like you're just tuning out, like everything they're saying is just woo right back here, that is a warning. I protect against that myself, because when I'm talking about consciousness, I'm super serial. Even though I'm a comedian, that's my one subject where I'm super serial. And I like to cut out the bullshit, because there's so many people that wave it around like a stick, in my opinion. They use it like a tool, like mysterious, therefore this. Though if you disagree with me, we're about to go, we'll go into the open mic. In fact, I'll send the link, and then I'll talk a little bit, and then we'll open it up.
I guess she has a model for tree consciousness, maybe even rock consciousness too, I guess. I mean,
see, I disagree with a lot of that. I just don't see why. Like, I understand why. If you're new to this channel, one of my obsessions is consciousness. That is one of my shticks. I mean, I could say it in a sentence. We have consciousness because it's the mechanism by which animals gather energy. And there's an arms race for energy out there. And that's... You don't have to go photons or physics. I don't know. You know, I'm open-minded to it, but...
Well, she did say she had a degree in physics, which I found pretty astonishing.
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't find that astonishing. I find that right on target of someone who probably understands some science, feels like she's a science advocate. She is this nebulous thing over here, but her thing is not consciousness. Or maybe it is. Maybe she's saying, but physics, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think deals with consciousness. Like, you could go on some quantum level and all this stuff. I think you're missing the mark. Consciousness wants to work on Newton's laws. Consciousness wants to work on the cow that is just chewing things. Like, what does that have to do with photons? The cow's conscious. It just feels like we're talking over here when we should be talking much more over here.
Trust me, there are no photons inside your skull. So whatever's going on up there, there are not any photons. It is pitch black inside there. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
there's
exactly.
No light in there whatsoever.
Once again, yeah, that is a good point. I like to do a funny little game, which is, once again, not really a game, but it's to prove that there's a long preamble, unfortunately. You have all the sensory back here. All your brain is, your number one sensory organ is sight. And it's pumping so much energy to what I call render in real time, which is just a fancy word for it's always pumping things to get an image. But that's not consciousness.
Taking electrical signals. Yeah.
Yes. And the difference is, what's the difference between rendering in real time? That sounds fancy. Well, if you're doing a movie, if you're doing something with a computer, you got to spend a lot of time to render. Movies take a lot of time. And so we are rendering in something what's real time. Video games also render in real time. They have to. And to prove, once again, just simple little game that seems trivial, but just the longer you do it, the more you realize that sight is not consciousness. Are you ready? On the count of 3, we are all gonna just close our eyes. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. No. See, look, we're still having the podcast. We're streaming. Look, I did jazz hands. Believe me, I'm still doing it. But your consciousness is much. No, I just see black. I see. You know what I see? I see the light imprint, that the negative, but it's going away and eventually going into black. Yes, but our consciousness is still rich and deep. We're still doing things and processing data. It's not all this sight and real-time rendering that I was just talking about. Oh, and we're back. There we go. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Our lovely, because we use it so much. In fact, we can fuse this. Yes, we could fuse our sight sensory for consciousness. But it's not. It's just one of the main elements, one of the main sensories that you're pulling in to your consciousness.
We also, I think, we confuse what we see.
Oh, no one was there. You know what? Did I send the wrong one? Hold on 1 second, folks. I have a test dummy one, and I have a that I work on, and I have this one, a live one. Hold on 1 second.
A fake thing to send to John Maddox. That way he goes to the stream.
I work on overlays, but yes, that too. Exactly. Hold on 1 second, folks. More jazz hands. Did you have anything to say? What did you think about all?
I did. I just totally lost my train of thought just now.
I'm sorry, but the debate was interesting.
I think people confuse what we see as being reality, but it's actually just a segment of the spectrum that evolution has allowed us to perceive with our eyes. Actually, most of the matter in the universe is dark matter. We can't see it. We can't perceive it. Dark energy, we can't see that, can't perceive that. These are just things that evolution found to be extraneous information we don't need to know because it's not going to help us stay alive. But, yeah, our brains are like television, like radio dials, filtering out and only seeking out the band we call visible light.
I'm sorry. I agree with you. I was multitasking, and it looks like the link actually went in. And all right. Hello, Leophilius, Cerberus, Scavos, and Oz. And we're having fun tonight. And I'm sending love to, I think it's probably Haley. I'm sending love to Haley and everyone in chat, and Andrews and Hannah and Bob and Bubblegum. And all right, we're going to go into the open mic in a second. And Atheist Mama Bear and Biddy Buddha. Woohoo!
Oh, wow, we got the whole crew in here tonight.
The whole heathen crew. And all right, guys. I have so many notes, and consciousness is my thing, but I feel like everyone has a lot to say on this subject, which is a good thing. I'm glad we're touching pantheism, and oh my, baby. Is your body ready, James?
No, I haven't hit the bottom of the rabbit hole yet, so I'll let you know when we hit rock bottom.
That sounds good. And with that, we are going
Marshall.
Leophilius. Woohoo! I hope you're doing well. And we are Midnight Ranting, having a good time putting, as I was saying, the pans versus the A's. Though I'm pansexual, so it's not a different kind of pans. Still non-stick. But hope you're doing well. And what are your thoughts about the debate or anything that we've been talking about?
The debate was, I came into it just a little bit over an hour after it started. So in terms of the actual dialogue that was had between T-Jump and Jennifer. I only saw about 10 minutes of it. I don't think I need to see any more of it. I don't think it would be necessary to go see any more of that debate. I have a pretty good idea of what it was. I can also judge that from the way that she answered a lot of her questions. This did not seem to be a debate, at least with respect to the position that Jennifer, from my point of view, seemed to be defending, a debate about pantheism. This seemed to be more a debate about panpsychism. It seemed that she was defending the idea that consciousness is this thing that's over and above, humans and the human brain and brains in general, and it sort of pervades the universe in its entirety in some manner or another. That's panpsychism, and I do know that with a lot of people, panpsychism and pantheism can relate, and oftentimes do relate. But if that's what she was defending, then she should have specified. If that's what she was defending, she should have specified that she was going to be defending panpsychism rather than pantheism. I do not know how to make sense of what Jennifer said. I do not have any degrees in anything. I've only been to college for a semester, and that was for agricultural related things. So I have no formal training or education in the subjects, but I would think, and I would suppose that many people that know me well would agree, that I have a pretty fair understanding of subjects such as quantum mechanics and quantum field theory and particle interactions and things of that nature. I have absolutely no idea how to make sense of anything Jennifer said. If she has a degree in physics, she's absolutely deliberately lying about everything that she's saying. Well, she's a liar in either sense, because either she's lying about everything that she's saying because she's educated enough to know that it's wrong, or she's lying about the fact that she has the education she's claiming to have. Now, I'm charitable. I am not going to assume that she doesn't have that education. But either way you slice it, she's lying. And that, I think, is a problem. And I'm not trying to be uncharitable when I say that, but yeah, that she would be lying in that instance. She kept using the term a waveform, and while waveform is a thing that exists in mathematics, it is different from a wave function. So I think the term that she was meaning was wave function, which is different from waveform. I don't know. When she said entangled photon waveform, my presumption would be that she was referring to something like the wave function describing two or potentially more entangled photons. But most of what she said is just straightforwardly false. It's not even coherent when you understand it from the framework of quantum mechanics and quantum field theory. Some of the stuff that she was saying and trying to attach that to consciousness, it's not believed by either physicists or those who study the brain, neuroscientists, cognitive scientists, that consciousness has much of an effect, if any, on the operation of the brain, which is most likely a result of classical process, or is at least strongly dominated by classical processes over any potential quantum processes. I mean, in some respect, the brain is quantum, in the same respect that everything is quantum, but I can't even say that she was making an argument, because nothing that she said seemed coherent in any way that I could understand or derive information about what it is that's being said.
It's one of those, you're not even wrong.
Yeah, it's like you're not even wrong, you're potato.
Still sending hearts to you, Jennifer. It's just and sending hearts to everyone also.
Really quickly, logical, plausible, probable. John Maddox said in the chat to Nick Suter that he looked her up, which I can take him at his word on that. Then that she double majored in mathematics and physics. I can agree with that, and that's where I said that she knows that everything she's saying is wrong, because everything that she said is wrong, and I can cite mounds of academic literature to show that.
Yeah, and I feel like some people just not literally split their mind, but there is.
I mean, it's no different than your John Sanfords and your Nathaniel Jeansons and your David Snellings and your Jason Lyles. It'd be no different than that. They're experts in these fields, but they consistently go against what the consensus of the field is, both in terms of the opinions of the experts and the obvious conclusions of the literature and the data, and they can't actually reasonably substantiate or justify their diversion or their contention with that consensus. So obviously they're not taken seriously. She would be no different. Yet I have no problem admitting she could have a PhD in these subjects. What she's saying is still wrong, and I'm not saying take me at my word, because I can cite, like I said earlier, mounds of academic literature to demonstrate that is the case.
Mm-hmm. And okay, I actually have a lot of points to talk about her, but we're going to keep on going down the line. And if you want to defend her and you think that she was making good points, come on the stream and you'll have just as much time. And okay, thank you so much, Leo.
Thank you,
Moving
Leo.
down the line.
Thank you.
Cerberus, hope you're doing well. And what are your thoughts about the debate, the topic, or anything we've been talking about tonight?
Well, I agree with Leo is that she didn't really argue pantheism at all. Like the subject was in the background. Like it would have been really good to have the definition out there of exactly what it is. But I don't think it would have really mattered for anything that any of them were debating there. So instead, I'm going to give basically the argument that she should have gave to start with. There's the difference between atheism and pantheism is semantics, and pantheism can be considered better because it's immune to presuppositionalism.
So, do you mean you personally think it's better?
Well, if you consider being immune to counter arguments, right? If you're immune to a counter argument that a lot of people have a problem with, and that way it's better. I'm not a pantheist. I don't consider myself an atheist either. So I really don't care which one someone thinks is better. I'm just saying that's what she should have said.
Maybe. I mean, I could understand pretending to be a pantheist on Dark Talkers channel more than yeah, I mean, there was a book that I just read recently that was by Sam Harris's wife about consciousness, and she dips into panpsychism at the very end of it, which to me came out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, okay. But the rest of the book is good.
It gets weird. But basically, when I say it's all down to semantics, it just comes down to what you want to call a god or not.
Right?
That's the only difference. What? I mean, I don't know a whole lot about panpsychism, but it's not pantheism.
Yeah, I mean, the way she explained it almost sounds similar to the universe being a thinking mind and all this stuff. None of that makes sense to me. And I'll be honest with you, I think there's two best ways to argue against presuppositional apologetics, and that is one, to actually use their religion, because they don't seem to want to use their religion at all, or two, to really talk about this being thing. I really don't understand this notion of necessary being, and no matter how many times they repeat, like, necessary is in the word, I'm like, yes, but you have to prove that there needs to be a necessary being. Just saying that there needs to be a necessary being does not mean, and they don't seem to want to do that.
When you assume that, then they can bring in any being they want and say, well, this is the necessary being.
Well, sure.
It's off of what I wanted to say, but you do have to assume there's a necessary something. Otherwise, you end up with nothing. Right? Any reality will have to be a particular way based on whatever that reality is described, right?
That might not be a necessity. That could be a proof.
It's not. Well, yeah, it's not a necessity for all versions of a reality, right? But anything could be a necessity for one version of a reality.
I suppose in some.
Can I just ask a question, and then we'll move on? We're gonna go Skivos, then Oz on deck. My contention also is, because necessary, there could be or there could not be something necessary, but it's with the word being, because being could be used as in like, I am being, this is my being. Or what a lot of times they do is they use that definition and then they slowly but surely, that being becomes like a being with consciousness, like a different kind of definition, more of like what we're talking about tonight, like a whole thinking mind type of being. And what it seems to be a bait and switch
agent.
where, yeah, it's vague. The more atheist you are and skeptic you are, the more vague it is. And the more the theistic you are, the more that it just slowly gets that nice mind quality that cares what we put up our butt.
And can I finish what I was going to say, though?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Okay, so I was going to add, there's lots of atheists out there who think that they don't need a definition for what a god is, like small g, right? And they always say that it's up to the theist to bring them what they call a god, and then they'll deal with it as it comes. But there's a pretty significant weakness in that if you don't have a definition for what a god is, you have no grounds to say that something isn't a god, which means you have no defense against pantheism. If you don't have a definition for what a god is, you're essentially a pantheist because you're not going to deny the universe.
Sure. I mean, I guess so, but I know I have a pretty good, in my opinion, I think I know what the more you commonly used definition of a god is, and I have good reasons to why those gods don't exist.
Yeah, just go off that definition. That's all I'm saying. Just have a definition.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
I mean, they're still going to use the term how they want to use it, so I think at the end of the day, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And okay. And we're actually going to go back into open conversation in a second. We're just going to keep on moving down the line. Thank you very much, Cerberus. And I think, you know what I was going to say? Skivos was in line, but then he dropped out. But they said, Skivos, I think you're next, but you might have dropped out. But that's okay. I know he's a ringer.
He said he can't come on. He's having tech issues.
Oh, he's having tech issues.
Yeah,
we're sending hearts out to you. I can see that.
You must have Ken Urban's tech guy.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. That, and we're going to leave it at that. And Oz, we have been Midnight Ranting. And thank you so very much, Cerberus. We have been Midnight Ranting on Pantheism. Versus Atheism. I hope you're doing well. And what are your thoughts about the debate, the topic, or anything we've been talking about tonight?
Well, I did not get to watch the debate in its entirety because I was talking to, and I am not speaking about Will when I say this because I saw him in the chat. I was talking to a couple of Calvinists about why, no matter what, it's okay to kill babies if God ordains it to be okay. So that's how I'm coming into this conversation.
Well, okay then.
Gotta love the Calvinists.
Woohoo! Just have to throw that up. And okay, thank you so very much. Well, actually, while you're up there, Oz, I will ask you, what do you think of pantheism just in general? This whole, the universe is a god. Just that concept in general. She seemed to think there was use in bare bones minimum, having a religion kind of thing.
Yeah, fair enough. We, Pasta Mike and I interviewed a guy, was it last week or 2 weeks ago on our channel that was aligned with this belief system, I guess is what we want to call it. To me, it's almost just I want to create this God. Like I want this God to be a thing. So without having to attach it to, holy books or dogmatic beliefs, or the rituals or the traditions that we find within Christianity or Islam, or whatever religion. We want to have this God and this placebo without all of the baggage. That's how I interpret it.
That does sound like something she was saying when she's like, how important it is for how we just do better when we have an idea of a God than we do without it.
Yeah, and that's what I heard from the gentleman we talked to, is that he felt that he had a better life, and he made better decisions and did better for himself, and if that at the end of the day, if that's the case, like, I'm not trying to take that from him, even if I don't think it's rational, if that's how he sees it, I don't want to, like I said, take that from him, but that still, at the end of the day, to me, would be a placebo effect, where it's that, or just a safety blanket, making you think that there's something bigger than you, or something outside of your existence that's impacting the decisions you make and how you live your life, that helps you experience success or happiness or fulfillment. When really, if you drill down, it's you, bro. Like, you're making the right decisions. You're doing the right things for you and your kids and your family. And I wish he would realize that it's just, he's doing the right things. He's making the right decisions.
Ramen. Yeah,
Definitely.
it's us. And I think it has just too much baggage. But I know if you have a different opinion, come on and join us. I know we haven't had many deists really join the streams. But okay, thank you so very much, Oz.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Ramen.
Ramen.
And we are moving down the line, Nick. Woohoo! And thank you so much, Oz. Nick, we are having fun. We are Midnight Ranting, and we are talking about pantheism versus atheism. What are your thoughts about the debate, the topic? Or tacos, if either one of those don't work.
Well, tacos will be a close second. I actually didn't see the debate, so I'm bummed I missed that. But I will say, just as to some of the discussions that have started already, as to the degree thing, my suspicion is she's got a degree. I have almost no doubt that she does. But when people sit there and say, I have a degree, you have to be a little careful, because there are very many kinds of degrees, and they can all be completely valid. I have 2 degrees. I have and actually I have a teaching license as well, but I have a degree in philosophy and a degree in psychology. But they're at the BA level. Now those are degrees, and you should realize it takes work and study to do those. But that's the BA level. It's not even the MA, and it certainly isn't the PhD level. For me, it's enough, like in psychology, where I can spot bullshit a mile away, but I can't diagnose anyone. I can't sit there and talk about what's cutting-edge psychology. And by the way, I got those degrees 20 years ago. Now, in philosophy, I lucked out in philosophy, because as it turns out, philosophy hasn't changed a whole heck of a lot in 20 years.
In 2,000 years.
Or 2,000 years, for that matter. So in philosophy, I lucked out there. I can still speak saliently, because it's amazing how much nothing's changed. But in psychology, I'm saying, the amount that's changed in psychology in the 20 years since I got my degree. And you look at physics. If she got, now I didn't see how old she was, but let's assume she's younger than I am. If she got her degree even 10 years ago, physics has been overhauled in that period of time. And so it's you always got to be a little careful with that. I'm sure she was being completely honest, but that doesn't, what that means is another thing. And if somebody has reached the point where they have to say, I have a degree in it, there's usually a problem somewhere else. I'm always skeptical of those claims. Sure, it's true, but I'm still skeptical if someone has to pull out that card. And if they've got a PhD, they'll say, I'm a doctor of, and they're like, okay, at least we know what we're dealing with. But so all that aside, that was the first one I wanted to comment on, and then let's see, somebody else had said something that I thought was interesting, but now I've spaced it. So I really, yeah.
If I can make a comment on what you just said, is that what I feel is happening is the oft in creationist circles is that her degree is probably real. It's probably in science and all this. She's probably good in whatever she does, yada, yada, yada. but it's what all of the creationists do. It's what the tobacco people do. It's they hire people outside of relevant fields. I don't think her degree is in neuroscience or, she was studying consciousness and going into the lab and putting. Yeah, which, I mean, I'm not shitting on physics, but this is what they always do. They hire physics people to talk about biology. They hire biology people to talk about physics. It's the same that they do on the debate circuit. They do, I almost want to say with journals, but
well, they do
on the debate circuit.
The most prominent scientist against evolution, and if you talk to him, he's actually not against it. He just says he doesn't think it's been proven. But even he admits it's probably likely. But he just says, I don't think it's been proven. Here's why. He's a physicist, and he gets called out all of the time by creationists saying, "Hey, here's a PhD scientist who says it's not true." That's not what he says. And he's a physicist. But having said that. I think the other thing that I really have to agree with what Leo said. She confused a waveform and wave function, and that's an easy confusion for anybody to make, especially if you're a layman just shooting the shit. I don't sit there and correct somebody when they say that. I am not technical about it, but I'm not a fucking physicist, and I don't claim to have any kind of training in physics. So the fact that she got that wrong, and it's an important distinction, especially if you're talking about the collapse, where the observation, which I assume is where she was getting into, the observation of the field causes a collapse. If that's what she's talking about, then the terminology is extraordinarily important, and I would think she would use it correctly. And it's one of those things. Again, I know enough about these other fields, not necessarily to speak saliently on them, but to recognize when somebody it doesn't appear, in my view, to have the experience that either their credentials or their claims would suggest. And if she's making that, I tend to agree with Leo that kind of mistake, and I used to say the same thing with when I could tell right away somebody who's got any background in philosophy, because I hear how they use the language. I was like, okay, they're either a lawyer or a philosopher, and that she could make that kind of mistake just struck me as I'd be like, okay, yeah, there doesn't have the fluency she seems to suggest that she should have. But
you don't claim to have a physics degree, though. She does, so she should know better.
Well, that's my point. When I hear other people make that mistake, I don't correct them. I'm just like, it's close enough, and I make that mistake because I don't bother trying to be that accurate, especially when I'm talking to other laymen. She should know better. She absolutely should. It's not an inconsequential thing, especially if you're talking about quantum mechanics and the observer. It's not the observer effect, but when the whole Schrödinger problem of observation. So yeah, that's my.
And another thing I just want to point out, I was going to wait for the open conversation, but she made a comment in the debate that was like, that atheists often use, that is like, go get your Nobel Peace Prize. And that is true. I'm sorry, Jennifer. Go get your damn Nobel Peace Prize. I'll tell you one thing. Me and this whole consciousness stick, I'm going for everything. I want to not only publish my little theory thing, I hope my guys are walking around, and I'll take that thing home. So, Jennifer, I don't know what you're scared of, your ring theory or whatever. She was proposing something, rings behind the eyes and all this stuff.
It's not string theory, it's ring theory now.
I know, ring theory. Go get it, girl. I don't know, but you shouldn't be afraid of. She seemed to hint that it would be immoral or something like that. So what she was trying to say was, there might be science. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, good luck, Jennifer. You got this.
Hey, Amy, real quick. I do have to ask a very, very serious question right now. Since Nick is on screen.
Oh dear Lord!
And everybody, listen up. This is of the greatest importance.
Mhm.
Nick, where is your $400 jacket?
I only wear it on my streams. I don't wear it when I'm a guest on other people's shows.
No. The people that contribute to your channel, they need to see it on every.
They need to see the $400 suit.
They need to see it on every appearance. Like, what are you doing?
Dear Lord. Do you know how many suits I would have to buy? I mean, I have to, Oz, I have to buy it. You don't understand. I have to buy a new $400 one for every stream or the fucking thing doesn't work.
Well,
Are you going to donate? Are you going to, so you're saying you're going to become a patron of my show now, right?
No, you told me, no, your exact words were, Oz, I don't even need your money.
I don't remember saying that. I know for a fact I never said that.
You're like, I'm balling out of control, bro. I'm balling out of control. I don't even need your money. I buy $400 suit jackets for days. So I'm just wondering why you showed up. You don't have the $400.
I don't know. God, you're such an asshole. Really, really, Oz. Oh dear Lord. I said, you know what? Okay, I said so. I've been having to go to bed early tonight. In the last few nights, my wife has been out of town. She got back tonight. I said, you know what? I can stay up late now because I don't have to take the girls to school. I can stay up late. I can have fun and be on Amy. And look, there's Oz. I'm sure I'm going to have a marvelous time with him on the stream. Oh, I am as delusional as any theist you've ever met. Nice to see you too, Oz. Thank you so much. I'm having a blast now. Amy, you can put me down with everybody else. Just make sure I'm not next to Oz, okay? I don't want to be close to the flames.
Pathological.
Amy, before you continue, might I make a response to a couple of comments that I saw? And explain something really quickly?
You're gonna. All right. You know what?
You know what? No,
Hold on.
don't go ahead. Let Marshall go.
Well, do
I
you
can
have
wait.
them written down?
No, I mean,
Or
I'll
are they
remember them.
stuck
Let
in
him
your
go.
head?
Let him go.
Remember
Sorry,
them? All right.
he's up. Let him go.
So Marshall.
Namaste. Namaste,
How are
everyone.
you doing, Marshall?
Assalamu alaikum.
I feel like my chakras are aligned perfectly right now. My aura has been cleansed after this nice hot bath, so I think I'm ready to wade into this den of foolishness because you guys are getting everything wrong. Okay, you want to say that you want to say that plants don't have consciousness because they don't have a brain. Well, you're just a brain-having supremacist. You just want to justify the fact that you eat plants.
Man,
okay,
that was funny.
If you wanted to, you wouldn't have to eat plants. You could respect the consciousness of everything. Okay, you can just take your prana from the air like I do, right? You have light collapsing inside of itself within your brain. Okay, your brain is just a waveform function that's collapsing instantaneously, but also simultaneously for eternity. Okay, you guys are just too far down on the scale. You haven't advanced high enough to the level that I have. And in fact, what you need to do is find yourself a guru or a mentor such as I. When I was in Colorado, I consumed copious amounts of cannabis, and I actually became, yes, if you follow me, I could show you how to become the universe like I did. And once you become the universe, then you're privy to the secrets of everything. Right. No. You can experience this. No, you don't have to die. I can access the Akashic records right now, but you wouldn't believe me. You would just say that I'm making it up because it's so different from your understanding of reality because you don't understand reality the way I do. Just like if you went back in time, if Einstein tried to tell Isaac Newton about his theories, Isaac Newton would think that Einstein was just making it up, right? It's the same way with this. I can access the Akashic record anytime I want, and I can learn any fact, but you wouldn't think it's a fact because it's not what you perceive to be a fact. Because you're stuck in your reality. What? What do you have to say, Oz, to that?
I can tell by video quality and lag that you have no relationship with any gods.
Well, your periodic table isn't in 3 dimensions. It's only a 2D.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
The
periodic table.
It's 3-dimensional.
Is a predictive. Yeah. Well, it's obviously the three. If it's obvious that the periodic table is an algorithm of how the universe interacts with the quantum waveform function of your mind, if you truly understood the periodic table, you would be able to write an entire periodic table yourself, but you can't do it because you don't understand reality the way I do. If you want to start following me, I'm going to start posting videos on my YouTube channel, and then you can become a prophet or an acolyte of mine, okay? And I can teach you the secrets of the universe. But first, you have to sell all your possessions and follow me.
And first, you have to pay for him to upgrade his internet, his RAM, and everything else.
Well,
so that
I don't even have a computer. I'm on my phone. So.
And don't forget, reincarnation has also been proven tonight. It's a fact. It's a fact now. It's a fact.
Problem with science is that it can't explain reincarnation.
Wow.
I'm
sorry I missed this.
I don't understand. Like
I actually have a note
in like the previous debate she was on. The previous debate that she was on, it did seem like she was arguing more for the pantheistic idea, like Spinoza's God or whatever. And essentially, there were like 4 people. One, they had an atheist, this Jen. She's been on the Atheist Experience, and then her, and then a
Hindu, I think.
Her, and then a pagan type person who was, and then just some weird Christian guy. No, he was Christian, but he was from India or somewhere, and his connection sounded like it, so it was you couldn't even tell what he was saying.
Is it just me, or is it that every Indian in every debate has a bad internet connection?
I hate you people. Just going to say that, and I love everybody.
Pick it on it. Let him finish. It could be. But what I was getting at is, like, in the previous debate, she said that, like, the reason, essentially, that she didn't identify as an atheist because atheists are a bunch of big meanies. But then in this debate, she's arguing more for, like you said, panpsychism. I don't know.
We're meanies.
But it was
mean.
It was an entertaining
and I
debate,
did actually.
What does that spell?
A good time. And sending love to you, Robert. And then, yes, Marshall, that was one of the points that I wanted to actually bring up, is that she said we shed previous lives for survival. She almost tried to take it towards like a natural selection thing. I'm like, no, girl, we would need that. We would. Well, you telling me if we were kings or I don't know, just not even kings. If we were farmers, I would want farming tech. I would want to know how to blacksmith if I was a blacksmith. And anything, whatever.
Amen.
It seemed like when T-Jump would get her on a point and make she'd be like, well, that's just a depressing worldview. Like, I just don't like that. Like it's like she switched arguing from feelings whenever it got too hard to. And I just found it so hilarious that she was like, we can make predictions, and she made this prediction. And then T-Jump's like, okay, well, you made the prediction. Now let's test it. She's like, oh, that's unethical. We can't test it. It's like, all right, that's
And then
convenient.
she was like, well, what has science ever done for anybody? Why is your method better than my method?
Yeah, and so, I don't know. It's, for me, deism, pantheism, all of that. It could be true. It cannot be true. But if it's not demonstratable, I don't really care. Because when you get down to it, metaphysically, I can't get past solipsism anyway. So I just go with materialism just because, solipsism is kind of useless. So that's kind of my position on it right now.
Even if it's true, you have to
but she made.
Anyway.
Before you go on, I just like to know, when
she insulted all
solipsists throw a party, everyone's invited.
Right.
Oh,
well, she's just those brain in the vat people think that, and nobody cares about them. And I would have been deeply offended by that comment if I thought that she existed outside of my own brain. That's all I have to say.
Oh, can I add something to that?
Solipsism is more coherent than her worldview. I mean,
there is one more difference between pantheists and atheists. A solipsist, it's technically a god of their own existence, right? Their whole mind, that whole creation that they see.
Yeah.
So technically, a solipsist, you could be a solipsist and a pantheist, but you can't be a solipsist and an atheist.
Why not?
Maybe. Yeah, I guess
I'm
I
not
could
sure.
see that. But
Well,
well,
if nothing else exists but you in your mind, you are the god of that thing.
Well, you are
Yeah,
the
but
god
then-
of it, but that doesn't mean that there's a higher power.
You are the higher power.
yeah, I feel like yeah.
not
So
really.
so we get so wishy-washy with the term God a lot of times that yeah, I don't know. Like I mean, because for me, it's not just like saying that, yeah, I'm brain the vet. It's like, I don't know if this is a simulation. I don't know if this is a hallucination. I don't know what it is. Like, all I really know is that I'm experiencing something. Other
don't know
than that, I don't know.
I don't know if
So
this
it's
is my
still.
way.
I can't help it. I have to show this because it was making me laugh.
But
I don't. But
anyway,
okay,
I'm
thank
just gonna
you.
start calling people brain having supremacists all the time now because I just love that.
Brain having supremacy.
You're,
But I
you're
mean,
biased
does
towards
she?
people with brains.
Doesn't she eat food? And even if she was a vegetarian, she would be eating things that she thinks are conscious because she thinks
Yeah, but they're getting
plants are conscious.
yeah, but they're getting reincarnated as she eats them.
Oh God.
So
Okay.
I don't know.
God damn it. No,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, I swear there were, even though I heart her, there were times where I was like, no.
Yeah.
Almost like
Has anybody
like a-
checked out any of her streams or other videos and stuff?
I
She
will
doesn't
now.
have a YouTube.
I
I think
remember
she just has a web page. I don't think she has any YouTube content.
No, she has a YouTube
Yeah,
channel.
she has a YouTube channel.
I remember tuning
She does?
in briefly, and they were talking about something. I didn't catch the whole thing, but it almost seems like she was like saying that like women should be covered up to like she was taking this weird
The modesty type
tact
of
of like
plunge.
yeah, and it's like I
She does
wouldn't
cover her
expect that
hair.
from yeah.
I don't know if that's religious
Interesting.
or
Yeah, it was something about how like women need to cover themselves up to like respect the spiritual choices of men that are trying to protect their spirituality.
Oh dear Lord.
Yeah.
Why? And you know what? I've asked this before. Does this happen anywhere else but religion?
Right.
Nowhere else. All right.
Politics.
And thank you. Yeah, probably. But yeah, I know the two topics we love to talk about. And we are moving down. Thank you so very much, Marshall. But Amaretto, we are having fun.
oh god.
We are Midnight
We're
Ranting.
pumped.
Hey, I said Jimmy. I got
Oh,
a
did you say
BRB.
Junior last? Oh, I didn't even see. See, the funny thing is that did I read chat? No, I didn't. That's okay, but sounds good. Thank you so much, Amaretto. We'll come back to you in a second. Then we will move down the line. Love guides the wise. How are you? And what are your thoughts about the debate, the topic, or anything we've been talking about tonight?
I'm doing good as usual, and as usual, I won't talk very long because I don't want to monopolize too much of the time. I like hearing all your guys' opinions. You got some really good guests on, so I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. But yeah, I missed the debate this time, unfortunately, but I caught her the last time when they were on the whole 4 different people talking, and it was a bunch of just touchy-feely, woo-woo type stuff. So yeah, I definitely disagree with that way of thinking. I like more T-Jump's way of thinking, the atheism / natural pantheistic type of understanding. It seems to make a lot more sense just with how we can actually test the world. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here and listen to your guys' stuff. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I take this subject. I think everyone takes consciousness personally. How could we not? But I have a really big woo detector when it comes to the subject. I both love consciousness and I'm borderline obsessed with it. Want to talk about it as much as I can. At the same time, you could feel it. You could feel the bullshit. You could feel your mind just drifting as the word salad just goes over your head. And it's just like, why are we talking about photons and quantum mechanics and all this? It's like, no.
Exactly.
But yeah, good job, T-Jump. If he was watching out there too, thought he did an amazing job. And
He was
and
really
all
in
right.
his element.
Yeah, I just saw
Yeah,
our
I
Iron
thought this was
Chariot.
great.
I
What's
just saw
that?
our Iron Chariot here in the chat said to kick me when I was talking.
Well, maybe you were that convincing. He
Yeah.
was feeling your energy chakras were just aligned.
Right.
And all right, thank you so much, Love Guides the Wise and Biddy Buddha. We are having fun. We are midnight ranting, talking about pantheism versus atheism. I hope you're doing well. And what are your thoughts about the debate, the topic, or anything we've been talking about?
Hi. First, I didn't catch the debate, and now I kind of wish that I did because it sounds interesting. That's the best way of putting it. So what I've gathered is that there's sentience to all things in nature. Is like a consciousness?
Pretty much. Yeah.
That would be panpsychism. Pantheism is something more like that there is an identity relation between the cosmos and God, or the universe and God.
Okay.
But she might have been confused. Well, even though Leo, even though what Leo just said might be true, but what you just said or assimilated was what she seemed to defend. So
yeah.
she was throwing terms all over.
She was
the place
defending panpsychism.
I'm not familiar with the terms either way.
That doesn't.
It was like John Maddox level word salad.
Listen, don't worry about it. That didn't slow her down in the slightest. So
exactly.
I guess the only I think it's all bullshit and there's nothing to support it. But I would say that the only benefit to assigning sentience to nature and earth and shit like that, it would be productive for like climate change and kind of this reverence for things that we should have that a lot of people don't. That's the only positive I can really come out with, having also no idea who she is.
Well, she was kind of making the same kind of argument from Consequences, but like
I'm kind of a hippie at heart, so like I don't know how dangerous these people are, other than they are delusional. But I don't know much about the topic at hand. I just came to hang out.
Woohoo! Well, thank you so very much, Biddy. And I'm not sure, like, she was just throwing consciousness, quantum mechanics. She seemed to have her own theory, but when pushed on her own theory, just like creationists, her excuse for not wanting to test her theory was it would be too dangerous for consciousness.
It would be unethical because you're interrupting the consciousness.
And Jesus is the way. He seems to have a question.
I have a question. Biddy, why are you an atheist?
Because I don't see sufficient evidence to believe in a God or a God claim. I don't know.
Fair enough.
What evidence are you looking for?
Any at this point?
I think if Oz could go like 10 minutes without trolling somebody, I might actually believe. I might convert.
Well, then you're screwed.
And you know what, Nick?
No, Oz, I don't. Please tell me.
You know
Why
what,
don't you
Nick?
pray for it, Nick?
There's some things that, like even in business, like it's not trolling; it's helping people get better and improving their argument.
Oh, wonderful. When you plan on doing that, you let me know. I look forward to seeing that.
So what, is this an atheist apologetics course?
We can do that. So I'll be the Christian. No Christian showed up. I'll be the Christian. I love being the Christian.
Screw being the Christian. I'll be the theist.
Well, whatever.
I'll be the woo-woo master.
I could play a pretty good theist. I really could.
I say we got apologetics team ready.
Biddy, did you see my opening?
I caught the end of it, or maybe I caught all of it. It was quite long, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you got to watch. I mean, did you see the part where I was like arguing from her point of view?
Oh no, I don't think so.
Man, you got to go back and watch this after the stream.
Okay, will do.
And okay, thank you so very much, Biddy Buddha. And we just have one or two more people before we go into open conversation. And Randolph Richardson.
Randolph.
Randolph.
Thanks, Nick.
Hello.
Randolph.
And
I
thank
gotta
you,
say,
Biddy.
Oh, Canada.
So yes, I hope you're doing well. And what are your thoughts about the debate, the topic, and anything we've been talking about tonight?
I didn't see the debate. I guess like some other people here, I just tuned in and saw your invite to join the discussion. I gotta say, this little bit of conversation between Oz and Nick right now was just perfect. Oz saying, "You know what, Nick?" and Nick saying, "No, Oz, I don't know." That was it was a work of beauty. That whole little.
Are you
bit
saying
of
they should make a buddy cop film?
But Amy, I've just added you to my quotes file because you said something that I found to be quite profound. It was, I think we all take consciousness personally. How can we not? And I encourage people to quote you on that. It's just such an excellent point. So thank you for that. I guess that's about all I have to say for now. So.
Well, and I'll ask the same question. Do you have any thoughts on just this general notion of panpsychism? This whole the universe is a god.
Oh, that sounds like delving into some of Deepak Chopra's, if you can call it, thought. It's
quantum quackery, as I call it.
Yeah, that's a good label for it, actually. Hence the name Quantum John. I still think that just sounds
I love it. He's our resident quantumologist.
It sounds kind of deeply epic in a dark way.
He's not a physicist, but he plays one on YouTube.
You can get transferable college credits from watching his streams, don't you know?
Not for accredited universities.
Tangelo Bible College?
Yeah, not accredited universities, I'm quite sure.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's the greatest quantumologist ever.
I try to keep the quotes down to just a few words. I don't want to go through the entire exposition that.
Well, everybody just disappeared for a moment. Maybe StreamYard's acting up on me. I'm just really glad that you didn't misspell it as Pantheism, because that's a reference to a debate that I was in with somebody a while ago who wasn't wearing pants. So, yeah.
This guy is a pathological liar.
Oh, Darth Dawkins is here. Oh, Darth Dawkins is here. Great. I have a few things I'd like to talk about with Darth, but maybe we should get on to the next person coming in here. But the whole idea of the universe being a deity, I would like to find some evidence of that before I embrace such an idea.
Yeah, that's all we're asking for. Just a little bit of evidence.
And Oz was asking Biddy Buddha a question earlier. Why are you an atheist? And my answer to that is because I don't believe in deities. That's it. But Biddy Buddha has a little bit more reasoning there, so that's fine. I think it's good.
Woo-hoo. And all right, with that, we're going into open conversation.
Back is empty. We got them all in.
Got them all in.
Can I say something really quickly?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So I just walked back into my room, and I have my fan at my window, and I can tell that it has been hot out in the middle of Iowa because the air has a sweet smell to it. It smells like corn. I can literally smell the corn growing.
You know what that corn's being grown for, right?
Yep.
Yes, I do.
Even your shirt.
Not for people to eat, that's for sure.
Well, of course not. It's primarily going for ethanol and then to be processed. Humans don't want to eat.
You'll get in there. You'll get in there, so I believe it.
Field corn, yellow dent corn is not designed for eating. That would be sweet corn. I mean, you could. I wouldn't, but
I'll let you. Do.
So I do before I have to go. Before I have to go, and this Nick guy and this Marshall guy, this I can't pronounce his name because he puts it in another language. Guy,
Leophilos. In the Greek, it would be Leophilos.
Thank you, Leo.
Leos, because he wants to sound and smell smarter than he is.
Exactly why I'm doing it. Yep, 100%.
I did want to circle way backward. Oh, hold on, pause. Nick put on his $400 jacket.
I was wondering if you were going to know. I
Nick,
was getting so disappointed. I was like, he hasn't even done
That is a funny statement.
I really thought he cared, but
Nick put on his $400 jacket. You're so sexy.
Did you just like PayPal him the money so he could go run to the store and buy it while Biddy was talking?
Nick, you're so sexy. I'm glad you put that.
Just for you.
Oh, this is getting up close and personal, more than I expected.
I mean, the word I was sideways turn about 3 minutes
It
into
is
it.
Pride
I mean, we're
Month,
just
so
was hot, but sure.
And I want to say, Randolph, Amy, and James, you're welcome. You're welcome. But Biddy, to now come full circle, since we got very rudely interrupted by some others. Why are you an atheist?
Because I don't believe there's evidence for a God.
What evidence is it that you're looking for?
Any.
That's a very good answer.
That's a wide expectation.
How about any sufficient
Wait.
evidence?
Well, I
know,
would
I
argue
don't-
that evidence is generally
Hold
given
on,
as
hold on.
being sufficient.
So, guess what? The dude that can't put his real name in the chat, you're irrelevant. And, Randolph, just hold on a second. Biddy, when you say anything, what do you mean by that?
I don't know. I have no idea what that would look like.
Okay, so you just don't believe just because you don't want to go and hunt for or research or study for data and facts, or what?
Jeez, Jesus. Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I think that we would know. I think it would be undeniable if there was God. Well, hold on. If there was an interactive God, we would have demonstrable proof. If there is a God that does not interact with its creation, then I wouldn't know. And I don't see a need to know if that God exists then.
Have you been able to rule out God being the master at hide and seek?
Randolph, the gentleman that can't ever mute his mic when he's pounding on a keyboard, your position doesn't matter right now. So
okay.
So
I'll take your word for it.
It's like
sing the Canadian anthem for us, please.
So
he's having trouble with his trolling efforts right now.
What is happening?
Randolph, I will mute you. I will mute you right now. What do you mean this isn't my stream?
You are Marshall. You are not Marshall Matters. You're not muting anybody. So, Biddy, when you say that you need it to be demonstrated, when you say demonstrated, like a God should be able to demonstrate itself, what do you mean by that?
I think there's like countless examples in the Bible of the patriarchs doing whatever necessary to prove God in the moment and at any specific given time that they needed to. That would be a form of demonstration.
Okay, so the fact that you woke up this morning and you took a breath and you're still here, that's not enough demonstration for you that there would be a necessary being?
It's not, sorry.
Okay, why not?
I don't know. Why am I being picked on?
So you don't know that there isn't a God.
I don't know that there isn't a God. That's correct.
So you're just choosing not to believe. I mean, you could just as easily choose to believe. In the absence of any evidence, you're sitting there saying, well, there can't be a God. I don't want someone to rule over me. You're picking based on preference.
Oh, is that what I'm doing? Shit. Well, do I Pascal wager then the religion with the worst hell, and then just start choosing to follow that one? Would that be in my best interest?
Oh no, Pascal wager anyone you want. I mean, I don't think it matters.
So
that's a great question.
Well, applied correctly, you'd want to pick the one with the worst afterlife to make sure that you don't go there.
If I real quick, because I love these. These are great. These are great exercises, right? To go through. So I'll move to Nick.
Are they?
Oh,
they are. They seem terrible in the moment, but they're helpful. If you do them over. So Nick, I don't understand. I don't understand why you would believe, or I'm sorry, why you would not believe in this God. Because when you wake up, you take a breath in the morning, your feet hit the floor. There's nothing.
Trees.
There's nothing.
Sounds familiar.
There's nothing.
Look at the trees.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you normally hit things with your fists instead of your feet?
There's nothing. There's nothing that you can ground that would explain that other than a necessary being or a God.
I agree. I have no explanation, but that's a gaps argument. The gaps argument has two unique properties. The first is it's the single most often employed argument in human history, and second of all, it is the single most failed argument in history. That I don't have a counter to it, or I should say, another theory or alternative. Doesn't make that one correct. You could make the same argument for aliens. The way that you know that aliens created the universe is because I don't have any other grounding. Well, you pick and choose.
Nick, do you have a holy Bible written by aliens?
I mean, I've got one that's been written. I don't know who wrote it.
Is it the Marklar? Is it the Marklar edition?
It is not. It's the King James.
Do you have Nick? Do you have a holy Bible?
I do.
That was written by aliens that can be tracked for thousands of years by many historians and theologians and philosophers. Do you have anything like that for the aliens?
Not for the aliens. I don't have one for Christianity either. The historians and philosophers tend to disagree on A, what it says, B, how to translate it, and C, what any of it means, even if you could agree on a translation.
Okay, that's from your very, very biased reasoning because you don't want to believe it.
Oh no, that's fact. I used to believe it.
You used to believe it,
and I would rather believe it.
Okay, well then why not believe it? Because all of the evidence is there.
Well, there's no evidence. Like I said, the Bible has been written, rewritten, mistranslated. Plenty of things people can't agree on, and the Book of Daniel is a complete and utter fraud. I choose to believe things that are most likely true because it's been my experience that the closer you get to truth, the easier it is to make appropriate decisions, especially decisions that regard the health and safety of myself and other people. The closer you are to truth, usually the better your decisions are and the better outcomes universally for everybody.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you're putting your reliance or your dependence on how men have read and then transposed this text rather than just relying on it in its original form, knowing that it is a God document.
There is no original form. It was a whole bunch of scrolls that were put together and finally canonized loosely at the Council of Nicaea. It was decided which parts would be canonized largely for political reasons, whether or not you could find a way to merge paganism and Christianity. That's also why they moved the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. That's why Jesus Christ's birthday was moved to May 24th. He was actually born in the fall, if you go by Matthew and assume that he was born 9 months after John the Baptist. All of these things have been changed by human beings. And in fact, there are religious sects like Orthodoxy, which deny the Catholic Church precisely because of changes like this. But again, we get back into how do you know that they're right versus the Catholics, all of whom think, by the way, everyone else is going to hell, including the Orthodox, Seventh-day Adventists. So nobody knows.
But you know. So you say nobody knows those things, but you know that it's not accurate. But you can say that's not true.
No, I have enough evidence that there's no reason to think it's reliable. I don't know for a fact it's not true. It's almost impossible to prove a negative in this set of circumstances. I can't prove, for example, also that God didn't deliberately set out fakes to see who would believe it. There's an infinite number of things that I cannot prove. I don't have to prove that it's false. I just have to show that there's no reason to believe it's true, and I have none. It's actually just the word of people that's been changed, altered, and we don't even know who half the people who wrote it actually are, and we know a number of them wrote fakes.
Okay, so you prefer to deny God and love sin, and deny the Bible. That's great.
Oz is the man that has my heart. Other than that, yes, I deny God.
That's lovely.
I just like to sin too, so yeah, it's fun.
Sorry, what was that? I didn't catch that.
I enjoy sinning too, so
just love sinning.
That's really why I'm here. I just want to sin.
This is a fascinating line of questioning.
I think most Christians just believe in God because they want to have sins rules to break.
It was
so Randolph, you were lucky. You were lucky enough not to have experienced that type of thing, but you can tell Oz, he's so good at it. Not only because he grew up in it, but he actually probably has done the same sort of thing with people. You know what I mean? He's not just putting on an act of something he just thought of or watched from YouTube. This is something that he actually used to do.
And nothing slowed
sincerely,
him
I'm
down.
sure.
He did not let anything I say nothing slowed him down. It was just constant. I was just I've seen that before.
Randolph Richardson has no grounds for talking about normalizing atheism. That is of the devil. It is satanic. Period.
Satan's a good guy.
You're making a reference to Randism.
Oh, so now you're so egotistical. You're so caught up in your own flesh that you've now created your own religion. That's
so.
huge.
I'm curious.
He couldn't help it.
Hang on. So you're talking about Randism, which is the correct name for Satanism, and you think I'm being egotistical. I'm trying to connect the dots here.
Yes, that you would align yourself with your own religion that would then
my own religion. Randism doesn't belong to me.
Then further compound.
Randism was around long before I even existed.
With the devil was Satan. Don't overtalk me. You took your own name and tried to get cute and combine it with Satan.
No. You're giving me far too much credit. I appreciate it, but it doesn't belong to me.
He's lying.
This is what happens when Canadians try to be badasses.
Actually, Randolph tried not to be my messiah, but he failed. So we all follow Randolph, but he's just I'm just a normal guy, and
I gotta remind you, I am not your leader.
You are.
Be your own leader. Don't worship or follow other people.
Praise Randolph.
Wait, he speaks in such cryptic terms. He must be saying we're not seeking after him enough, and that's why.
It's a parable. It's a parable.
Today
it's a parable. Praise Randolph.
And I really hope this doesn't sound cryptic. Today is not opposite day.
He's not the Messiah. He's a naughty boy.
And okay, on that note,
moving right along.
May I make a just real quick?
Oh, hey,
Neil, come in here now. I took a straw poll in the back. Everybody wants you to come in. Come on in.
Come on in.
Hey, I want to do a deconversion story. If that's a thing I can do.
Yes, you can. Neil, we'll be delighted to have you on.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Contact him on Twitter. If you want his address on Twitter, you can ask me. I'll send it to you if you can't find it. I'll get you.
What
hooked up.
about an email? I don't do Twitter.
Can I Christian drill Neil? Is he coming in?
Sure.
Oh, I am.
Well-
There's going to be a theist in here in a second. You want to?
Oh, cool.
So maybe you'll have backup. Though she views herself probably a little bit different than the creationist. But, and were you about to say something, Biddy?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, I thought someone was about to say something. If not, Amaretto. Oh, James. Bye. Hey, hi. Hi. Wait, jazz hands. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, Amaretto? And we are Midnight Ranting, talking about pantheism versus atheism. I hope you're doing well. What are your thoughts about the debate, the topic, or anything we talk about tonight?
Yeah, so didn't see the debate. However, this is something that interests me because, like, my own beliefs are kind of a little bit in line with pantheism when you define it as, like, divinity around you. Wicca and, like, other pagan religions kind of take this approach. In a modern day society, we obviously are not as devout as some people who they can't even crush a bug, an insect. They sweep in front of themselves, in certain areas of the world, because they believe that could be something reincarnated, that all life is sacred. So I feel
let me ask you a question. Do you ever use the word quantum when talking about your beliefs? Quantum entanglement, quantum wave function, quantum anything. Do you ever use those words?
No, not really.
Okay, you're cool. Continue on. You're not as batshit as this girl.
I mean, listen, if you get anybody high enough, if you get me high enough, and Amy and I just talk for a little bit, I mean, things of a scientific nature will come up. It happens. That being said, though, I find it interesting, and I'm going to need to go see how this person y'all are talking about basically is, because now I'm very, very intrigued and curious. But
It's bad.
question is, it's like, how bad is bad? Because remember,
Very,
I'm
very
not coming at it
bad.
from an atheist position, but
She's not wrong. She's potato.
Not even wrong.
baked? Is she a baked potato? Or
I think
She might have been baked to the point of petrifying. I don't know.
I think she eats only raw foods. I bet you she's on a raw foods diet.
Is baked better than being high on mushrooms like the original authors of the Bible?
If she was baked, that would be an excuse.
Yeah. She seemed very baked.
Honestly, no, I don't think it would.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't seen it.
I'd say more half baked.
Oh.
Happens to us all sometimes. Good ice cream too.
Very much so. One of my faves. But yeah, I don't know. The topic interests me. I'm probably a little bit more woo, because I have all my crystals. Oh my god, so many rocks and gems, and I bought a new wand from the New Age shop. This is
congratulations.
I'm a little bit more.
Please send positive vibes my way.
Always to Leo. You're my favorite non-furry furry. And I don't know. I find the topic.
Just call me your favorite bald furry.
Are you trying to be like a Sphinx cat?
Whoa, whoa.
Meow.
Whoa.
But yeah, so I don't know. I think it's an interesting concept. It's something, kind of when you define it, as that, that, kind of divinity can be in anything and everything, and I've always been kind of that person where I'm very spiritual in that sense. And, I think things like evolution and stuff like that can still go hand in hand with thinking. Oh my God, Pat! I can't even. Pat's like, oh my God, I created a magic monster. Thank you, Pat. I love you. But yeah, I don't know. I think that science and things like evolution can still kind of go hand in hand with, finding, glory and wonder and and other positive feelings in everything. I'm very much I have an interest in science and everything else. And yeah, I have my crystals and I do astrology stuff and tarot, but I still maintain that at the end of the day, science is important. Beliefs evolve and change. And, I find a positive aspect in, thinking everything has some form of divinity, in it, because I feel for some people like that helps you become more conscious, especially in this day and age where it's all materialism and consumerism, of just how special and unique the world is. Maybe we're not unique in the sense I think it's pretty haughty to think for some Christians who think that we're the only people out here, or we're the most intelligent, we are the most cherished life form on earth. And I think that's kind of bullshit. But I think that there's other positive things that can be found in having just a belief when you talk about pantheism, as in that definition I was talking about. I know other people will define
Exactly
it.
what you're about to say.
As the definition is important. I mean, pantheism,
hers was more of a panpsychism.
Yeah, it's so pantheism, there's this one of the other definitions for is worship that admits or tolerates all gods, and I'm Unitarian Universalist, so I mean that's kind of the line I kind of take.
All gods.
That's pantheism as in a pantheon, right? We're talking about pantheism as in everything's divine.
What about evil gods? Are evil gods allowed?
Is that like evil Spock?
Like the Old Testament Bible God? Like if anybody wants to align themselves with the Old Testament Bible God, we can't be friends.
Yeah. That's why it's useless for Christians to even try to, give arguments for God to me, because even if they convinced me that it was all true, I'd be like, okay, cool. I'm not going to worship this guy that's going to put people that I love in hell.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too. I think that, there's positive things in all faiths, in different traditions and stuff. Sure. But nobody has anything 100% right. I feel like, and you also, anybody that says you need religion to be a good person is a crock of shit,
Thank you.
Right, but if I can jump in there, even with pantheism, if we break it down whether it's the Christian God of the Old Testament, would you or would you not be guilty by association if you say that due to having a pantheistic belief system that I have to believe in this God because I believe in all gods? Wouldn't you be aligning yourself with somebody that freely and very upfront has zero issues with killing women and pregnant women and ripping babies out of mothers' wombs, and that's my issue when we when we get into those claims. It's you still have to deal with that. You still, not just you, but anybody that has that, you still have to deal with those claims if we're going to say that all gods are true.
Yeah. No, I think I kind of understand the line of thinking. And I guess I come from a place of, worship is power. And, I would not worship the God of the Old Testament. I think it's kind of like a piece, but then again, here's my thing too, is I don't believe the Bible is written fact. So if I'm going from a place of, well, which there are a lot of Christians, who don't take the Bible as the word of God themselves, which, for a lot of LGBT friendly congregations, that's the kind of the position, from that aspect, I can kind of like, okay, yeah. But if it has to be like, it's the God of the Old Testament and, can't change it, well then, yeah, it's
That's
I don't
my
ally myself with those people per se. I kind of go with a view, anybody that's like a Bible purist, which, like, in looking for new church communities and stuff, just seeing kind of what's out and about, like, I'm finding that is a way more common thing. And it's unfortunate. I don't think the Bible is written fact, so I wouldn't vibe with people who necessarily do. I mean, not in, like, probably unless it was like a forum like this, but offline, no, I don't vibe with that.
but the two major religions in our world, Christianity and Islam, have a very, very direct and specific view, not just on homosexuality, but so many other issues that would condemn most of us.
Yeah.
in one form or another. So that's why I struggle with the any of the, well, I just believe in all gods. Like one or all of these gods are going to be a pathway to truth or enlightenment or whatever it is, because all of them are typically based on very, very biased positions based on the authors, the authorship and who wrote the books and who was around at that time. So in 2021, that is my struggle with anyone that makes a claim, whether it's a pantheist claim or a theist claim, to have a deity or multiple deities that would be the authors or the originators of the belief system, because they're all going to have biases. They're all going to have shit that's just really, really fucked up when it comes to our cultures in 2021, how we should treat each other as human beings.
The world was a different place back when a lot of these, faiths, were founded and had roots and stuff like that. It was definitely a crueler world. Not that I'd say we're not cruel still, because I mean, listen, Palestine is still not its own nation, and we still have things like slavery and child labor in parts of the world. So I mean, and also the U.S. military is also basically has for decades at minimum been a major force in creating chaos and some of the problems. Yeah.
But
installing chosen dictators and pro-US.
Let me jump in there. So, and I understand everything that's brought up as far as military and all that conversation go on for weeks, months, and years, right? As it always has. But majority of those things, and even what we're talking about tonight, have a religious foundation. Those wars have a religious foundation to them, and they are founded within deeply held beliefs. So, are we going to participate in those and feed into those, or are we going to say, like, no, there's got to be better ways to to solve those kind of issues and drill down to it and say, no, there's not this God and there's not that God. Like let's eliminate the God conversation and the religious conversation and get down to it. And then when we do, I think that's when we get to have actual adult conversations.
I guess maybe I'm a little bit more jaded than that. I think even without religion, I mean, that would in theory remove a barrier, but I think people are just going to find another way to discriminate against one another. And like I said, maybe I kind of have a little bit of a jaded view. But I don't.
But what if we take religion away? If we take religion away, what other? And I'm talking about present. Don't look in the past. I'm talking about today. If we take religion away and all of the impacts and the implications religion has on our culture globally, what other disagreements do we have that we can't overcome through having diplomatic conversations and having equal conversations? Because everything we're talking about right now is driven by belief, not knowledge, not understanding of laws or regulations or these are the regulations or these are the parameters. Like what we're talking about now are things that are driven by religious beliefs. If we eliminated all that, it's not such a thing. How do we still get to where we're at?
I think, unfortunately, at this point, racism has evolved beyond just a religious basis. And I think that is a huge issue. That's part of why the U.S. did not interfere in Rwanda in the 1990s. It was what Bill Clinton said was his biggest failure. But if it was white people, and like that's the thing, it's things like that, make me think like race still.
And guess what racism has been driven by, especially here in America?
Yeah, but I think it's evolved past that at this point.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I mean, that's the thing, like knowing racist. My dad is racist. My dad is not religious. And that's how I know, because non-religious people have these beliefs. And I think
I'm not at all saying that there are zero people.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't know that if that is going to probably be a big hurdle.
But it minimizes, because think about this, like the KKK, like literally claims to be a religious organization. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that there are people that would be atheists or whatever that are not racist. I'm sure those people are out there. Well, but if we remove religion from the equation, like, and I know we can never do this. I'm pretending like this is a perfect world right now.
No, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
And we remove that because racism is in the Bible, in the Old Testament. It's very prevalent. It is absolutely. But you have to start in the Old Testament. It's there. If we were able, we can't. But if we were able to remove that from our culture and what we have grown up to know and believe, based on our upbringings, everything, I truly believe that most of these things would not be an issue. Most of these things would not be an issue. But because religion has been so ingrained and has been so injected into our society, our culture, our politics, and all that, unfortunately, we'll never not live that.
Yeah.
Let me not experience that.
And this is the thing, like, real quick, like, and again, maybe I am jaded. My general thing is, I believe in what like Randolph's doing. I think atheism shouldn't be seen as something weird. Like with my religious path, that's how a lot of people think about me. And so, well, that's not a nice feeling. And, I think there is also sound credence to atheism. At the same time, I definitely think we need to be discouraging. And we're seeing this here happening in the US, where more people are walking away from these religions that, people are using to oppress one another, like Judaism and Christianity and stuff, and kind of taking the good portions of what they got out of it. And I'm even in more support of that. Like, I think science needs to definitely be a thing. And I think, I actively speak out against patronizing, churches and supporting people who think that, because of how they interpret a holy book, that gives them preference to treat other people like shit.
Amaretto.
That's not something I vibe
Thank you
with.
very
at all.
much. I appreciate it. And I feel that it's not just atheists who shouldn't be ridiculed, but theists as well. It's got to be even across the board for everybody.
Yeah, and what Almirano's saying about her beliefs is spot on, because like if you come around here where I grew up, like you're the Christians, you know, oh, you're a witch, like, you know, they don't like that stuff, you know, so.
And like that's the thing, like I feel like that's kind of the path where I want to go by, because you know, I'm not in the like fully, yep, no gods, nothing. I have always been a very spiritual person, you know, even if it's woo, even if it doesn't happen, you know, even if it's not real, I'm not employing active harm onto anybody else, and it's having a positive effect on my mental health. And, you know, as someone neuroatypical and dealing with mental illness, like that's something great to me. I think we need to have a good focus though on making sure that people in my, like, who are like me looking for something, don't find toxic church communities or toxic, you know, religious communities that actively encourage them to hate and despise other people, or to try and make it so that other people cannot live a good life based upon things like their race, gender, sexuality.
Didn't mean to show comments. I'm sorry.
You're fine. It's okay. I'm sorry. I've been I've been talking a lot. I'm sorry. But you know, I definitely think, like, you know, these communities suck, and I say that as someone like my next door neighbors and their children. They helped me out a lot when I was, you know, after I had a very traumatic family thing happen, and you know, my house burnt down. So they helped my family out a lot, and I say that, you know, knowing that these people have their own church, and they are actively saying people like me who, you know, are trans,
Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
and yeah, my beliefs as well. But it's
Dirty sinner.
very. But you know, I think back and I look, and it's almost kind of like they were trying to prey on me, and now I feel really weird about that. And it's just, you know, if they really knew, would they still be, you know, how would they be treating me? And you know, just the fact that I'm seeing their church gain prominence in my hometown community is very distressing to me. Because I don't think that churches like this like should be mainstream, you know. So yeah, I know it's definitely something that I struggle with, because you know, I know that people will try and use some of the things that we talk about on here, you know, just as, you know, tools to discriminate against people and stuff. But there's like a lot of theists out there who are, you know, we vibe more with y'all, and we don't want people to be hurt or, you know, discriminated against or killed, you know, for lack of belief of in a god, or, you know, race, religion, you know, we don't want people to be hurt. We just want everybody to get the along. Like, what the hell?
Just
like,
say, there's some.
I totally agree.
That's kind of like some of my thoughts on it. So,
and thank you so very much.
Yeah, I wanted to say something. You know, I dated a witch, or you know, Wiccan, if you will. I'm not sure exactly how she identifies now, but for about 3 years, and I went to circle with her and everything, and you know, went to the groups and stuff. And as much as I didn't believe any of it, I definitely saw the benefit in what they were doing. And like, out of all the religions that I've encountered, their philosophy seems to be the best, and they all seem like really cool people. So you know, I have no problem with the whole paganism, Wiccan thing. It's all cool to me. I don't believe any of it. I think it's about like playing D&D or whatever, but it's still cool. I don't have it's
I had an
what's on my
experience.
wizard robe and hat? Kind of.
I had an experience. I was invited by a coworker at a company I worked at years ago. She was a nice lady, and she invited me to something for the weekend out in the middle of the forest somewhere, and it's they needed a guy to join. So I thought, okay. But I didn't go because I'm married and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, you missed out. They're probably naked.
Yeah, actually, it was involving some nudity, is what she told me, and but she said she can tell me more about it if I'm interested, and so I declined. And it's also in a professional environment, so she asked somebody else, and turned out one of my somebody I work closely with in the same department, because we do a lot of work on a lot of the same projects. And after the weekend, he came back and he told me about the event, and he said, so what happened is, it was all women. He's the only guy, and it's one of my friends who knows about Wiccan stuff, because he was a Wiccan for a while, told me, oh, that ritual is called the raising of the cone. And
I think I've heard that.
So he said,
I think I've seen that porn.
He ended up having sex with each one of them. And then what happened was, and they're all different ages, and he says, it exhausts you. He was an older guy. And then he said,
as it does,
for another ritual that involves tying him down and doing similar stuff. And I said, oh, so you're exhausted. I guess you're not going. He says, oh, hell no, I'm definitely going. So
listen, witches,
and then what I found out is there's different kinds of Wicca being practiced.
Yeah.
And so that one, I guess, is not so mainstream. It's kind of uncommon, is what I've found out over the years. It's not a very good representation of Wicca overall.
Well, if you have,
and then there's Hollywood Wicca, which is just out of the...
very.
If you still have the contact information, can you send it to me?
No, I don't.
It. Let the experiences speak for themselves.
Yeah, because like there's some traditions and covens, which are basically groups of people who practice magic together.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
It's almost kind of like a fraternity or sorority, because like you apply, they kind of vet you. It's kind of like a BDSM club without the kink necessarily. Because I mean,
well, not always without it.
Tying people down is definitely
tie down sounds pretty kinky.
But you know what I'm saying? Like they vet you. It's not just like going to the bar. Anybody can come into the coven,
It seemed to me there's a lot of overlap between the polyamory community and the Wiccan community.
No.
I mean, I'm also poly, so I mean, I can't really. I'm kind of not doing myself justice by saying nah. But
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I
think in general, it's your non-strict religious people, or like anybody that's like on my half the theist spectrum.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yes, there are some conservative poly groups. Like I've met conservative poly
Mormons. You met Mormons?
I mean, not even just Mormons, like conservative Christian Trumpert style poly.
Hold on.
They do exist.
So,
want a cracker?
So Mrs. and I, Oz, those that are on our channel, her and I met at a swinger club, and actually the largest swinger club in America. Let's just put that out there.
Hell yeah!
Don't take this the wrong way, but I definitely think I thought you might be on that side of the spectrum.
Wait. Who did you go with?
Is that a compliment? I think that's a compliment.
I think it's a compliment. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out.
Who did you go with? Because if you went single, I think that's cheating.
No, I didn't.
A lot of them don't allow single guys.
So backwards.
Just pay more.
Going single to a swingers club is cheating. That sounds
a lot
backwards.
a lot of them don't allow single guys to avoid it just becoming a sausage fest.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, or they make them pay more because that helps discourage like basically the dirt bags supposedly.
And wear a funny hat so everyone knows they're single.
Like it was always my understanding that a swingers club was intended for you to swing and switch partners, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're not switching partners, you're just getting a partner.
If you want his story, I'll tell you.
And night, Nick.
Good night, Nick.
Night.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like there's a club in Philadelphia where it's single guys were literally just charged more. And single women were charged more.
You too, Oz. Thank you so much. It was a blast. Thank you, guys.
Love you, Nick. Just so you know, Randolph just sent you the next $400 for the next suit.
My thing is like when I was
Wow, he treats you well.
Is that for the lower half?
No upper.
Is Oz your sugar daddy?
No,
now?
listen. To be fair, the suits are $800. I only have to pay $400.
Right.
I want to make a request.
So he's like a
But I
sugar
can't get up on
brother,
stream.
not a
I can't
sugar
get up.
daddy.
Nick, I want to make a request.
Gavin, but he's not
Go-
standing up.
Go to like Goodwill or something and get a suit, but cut it off just below the breast, and then scoot the camera up like where you have it now.
I like that.
But no one
I
knows you
really
don't have
like
the whole shirt on.
And then just like stand up before it's over.
It's a long story.
Give
It
him
has
the
to be
men's
$400.
sportswear version of rave gear on, in girls.
Oh no, yeah, no. Below that have like skin tight fishnets.
I really want to know why this
Sounds
is
like we
just
need to
on
go
the top of
shopping
your
at Dolls
heads.
Kill.
Like how you already have that. You guys are clearly thinking about this. You put some thought into this, and I'm not going to sleep well tonight, quite frankly.
Nick, I was starting to wonder about that too, actually.
Get it, Nick. Get it. That's your exit. Get it, Nick.
Wait, is this not the kind of thing you think about?
No, I don't usually think about. Well, okay. Let me rephrase that. I won't discuss what I think about for myself. It's what I think about for other people that really just for myself. We'll stay away from the fishnets. I won't talk.
You can't tell me that your first thought on seeing somebody is what they look like naked. You can't tell me that's not how you think.
Oh well, if you're asexual, then no. If you're like demisexual, probably not.
It's not how I see people. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I find like a lot of neuroatypical people, like people who have ADHD and autism, don't necessarily think that that way about people as well. It's there's a wide variety of people on this earth. So not everybody experiences things like attraction or sexual desire in the same way. So I tend to think about like, oh, they do look good, but I don't want to necessarily fuck them. I can appreciate.
No, I was just giving him shit. I'm
sorry.
I'm not trying to say everybody is a certain way. I'm just.
Oh, it was a good answer, Amaretto.
Yeah.
Can I make a hot take, by the way? Because I've been holding it for a while. It's starting to eat me from the inside.
Better than a cold take.
Baby.
Oh.
Before you do, you need a proper introduction. This is a hot take that's been eating him from the inside.
Multiple
How are you not a voice actor?
There you go. So I think I've been sitting here thinking. I think an atheistic world is as or more dangerous than a theistic world. And my reasoning behind this is that we've seen countries that become less religious, and all they do is become more politically active and extreme.
Can I interrupt you? Are you about to go to Stalinism? Is this about where this is going?
Well, no, that's an example, right? There's a ton of examples.
Let's look at the U.S. Is the U.S. less religious? They're very, very political there.
Yeah, we've been getting more political the more atheism and secularism we get.
Yeah, wouldn't that be more just a result?
Wouldn't that be just more a result of the fact that atheists at least generally tend toward more left-leaning policies? And so we would expect to see that as more atheists develop, we're going to see more left-leaning people who are trying to drag against the desperate will of regressive conservatives, trying to drag society forward as we've always had to do.
What is the percentage? What is the percentage of people in the U.S. who are religious?
I think as many atheists are drawn to the right side too, because like anarchism is on the right side and all that other stuff.
I know some.
And what about like
I didn't say there weren't right-wing atheists.
Germany?
Let me get through my hot take, because it all depends on the politics of the country, right? The different parties, different ideologies are in every place. So not everything's going to turn.
I don't agree with any of this, but go ahead. Yeah.
But so it's the type of person, right? There's the individual type of person, which is usually what an atheist is. That's why they walk away from religion or they never join a religion. They're not looking for a broader identity as much. No. It's also why hurting atheists.
They're not looking for a deity.
Yeah, exactly. But that's one of the ways.
That doesn't mean broader identity.
It is one of the ways to have a broader identity.
But the thing is, it's not when you say that atheists are not seeking a broader identity, that doesn't compute, because atheism doesn't address that.
Yeah.
Well, if it doesn't address seeking an identity, then in atheism you would not be seeking an identity.
Yeah, I'm not saying it addressing it because it specifically doesn't, which is part of my point. So
you're drawing an inference that's unsupported.
So finish your point, and then I think I was wanting to respond to it.
I'm trying. I'm like barely halfway through it here.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
You're
so
good.
individuals that are not as individualistic tends to be the people that are in religions or in politics really deeply and stuff like that. So as you remove one, you get more of the other. And the big difference between religion and politics is that you can usually prove in politics that one side is right. So if you pull a bunch of hate into politics, you'll eventually get a side that is right, that is willing to kill people.
So I have a question.
This sounds pretty dim to me.
Are you saying that religious people are extreme at their religion, but atheists are extreme with politics, conversely?
No, I think atheists in general are less extreme in politics because they're individualistic.
But
Well, I mean, sure, I know many atheists that aren't really, there'd be more collectivist or communitarian.
It's in comparison. I think they're even more individualistic.
Yeah, my observation is consistent with what you're saying about atheists being less involved in politics. But like what you're saying is that where there's more atheism, the end result, there's more killing. Is that what you were trying to argue?
Oh, there's more. No, more extremism.
Extremism in what way?
Because the people that, well, usually it'd be politics, right? But you could include other things like economics and.
But you just said
this doesn't make sense to me. Like, can you give an example?
You literally just said opposite of that.
Well, then you didn't understand me because I didn't say opposite of that.
Well, no, then you did not communicate properly because that's.
Well, I mean, it takes two to tango.
Huh?
Can you give an example of where atheists are more extreme? Like earlier on at the beginning, you mentioned about leading to more killing.
Atheists are not more extreme. I said an atheistic world, and that means it's a secular without religion.
Yeah.
Right. It will be a more violent place because you're not removing the people that are the foundation for religion.
Can you give an example of a country?
America.
Hold on.
America.
No, hold on.
There's people justifying killing using religion in America.
Just stop.
Yeah.
It literally means you have not went back and looked at any statistics on any wars that have ever happened on our globe. And the fact that you would say that is absolute ignorance. That you would say that if the planet was just based on a lack of belief in a God, that there would be more wars or equal to as many wars, because so many, if not majority of the wars that have been waged on this planet have been in the name of religion or religions.
Yeah,
you're not doing.
I think most of them haven't been though. Most of them are.
You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
Most of what hasn't been what?
You're confusing two things. I'm not saying atheistic as in how you people act, like everyone in this room.
You people, interesting phrasing.
Biddy is right.
If you're more individualistic, I'm saying once you get rid of religion, all of those people that aren't like you in religion will bleed into things like politics.
Okay. I kind of agree.
Nationalism will increase. What Biddy was saying in the chat.
Like
so what you're saying is we need to try to increase individual.
Wait, hold on. Where's the argument that as religion dies out, naturalism will rise? I have not heard an argument for that yet.
Oh, I guess I thought that's what he was trying to say.
That's what I'm saying. He's talking about what ifs. He is talking about what ifs and probability. Probabilities if A, B, or C happened. He has zero ground to stand on current day in 2021 because all we can look at is the current status that we have is that majority of the wars that have happened on this planet up to 2021 have been in the name of or for religion.
You have no evidence.
I don't know if that would be true. Most wars were fought for political reasons. Like religion really has not had much to do. Yeah, well, the religion might have been the excuse that was fed to the peasants that caused them to go fight because it was the only way we could get it to do it. But it wasn't the reason for the war. Reasons for wars are almost exclusively political. But I haven't.
Religion, the war would not have been convinced to go to war.
We don't know that.
You just
Religion.
made that. You just made that.
No, because I never made the statement that with I never made the statement that there's no way you could convince somebody to go to war without religion.
No, but you
not
said
once did I make that. I said religion is used. That does not mean other things cannot be used. You're completely misrepresenting what I'm saying.
No, I'm not. I'm going based on
you
what
are.
you just said.
Yeah, I said religion was used. That does not mean that there could not have been something else that was used.
It was
but that
implied.
doesn't mean religion was the reason war was fought, because it wasn't. I'm sorry, this is wrong. I've talked to historians on this. This is wrong. Most wars are not fought because of religion. They're fought for political reasons. Yes. The excuse that you feed to people is not like, listen, look at the United States. Look at the reasons we went to the Iraq war are not the reasons we went to the Iraq war. You're missing the point.
Leo,
what they tell you
Leo,
is not
Leo,
what's true.
Leo,
You're
Leo,
conflating the two.
Leo,
This
Leo,
is not difficult.
Leo,
Holy shit.
Leo, go
Leo.
take a hit. It's okay.
Leo.
Well, I mean, like, this is really, really simple stuff.
No, I
Really
agree.
simple stuff.
Leo, I agree. And what you're doing is you're breaking it down to the most simplistic form for you and the whoever it is you're talking to.
Not really.
No, you are. You are.
No, I'm not.
No,
I'm
you are.
explaining that the cause for most of the wars in human history does not have its roots in religion. It has its roots in political disputes and fights for power. Now, religion might have played into it, fed excuses for why these people were engaging in these actions, but it isn't the reasons why they engaged in these actions in most cases.
Leo,
and I don't think you could find a historian that would agree with me.
Leo,
I would. Josh Bowen would agree with me. I'd put money on that.
Oh, I would love that. I wish it wasn't 2:30 in the morning because I'd get him on right now.
Set it up, Oz. Set it up on Chang.
But I'm telling you right now, I understand what you're saying, but religion at the end of the day does play a huge part in every single one of
I don't think so. I don't think religion had anything to do with the Iraq war. I don't think religion had anything to do with our invasions that we've done in Central and Southern America and in the Middle East, in Southeast Asia. I don't think either the world wars had anything to do with religion. I don't think that the Revolutionary War, the Civil War had anything to do with religion. The War of the Roses, they didn't have anything to do with religion. Most of the wars that Rome fought didn't have anything to do with religion.
Leo, you over talking.
I'm not. I'm defending my position.
Well, you don't have to defend, bro. Like, I'm here to talk with you. You don't have to defend.
I was trying to be the bad guy.
Like I'm cool. Like checkmate atheism is the one that came here to stir the pot. But what I'm trying to point out is whether we want to recognize it or not as atheists. I'm not saying every single war that's ever been fought on this planet has been in the name of or for a religion. Let's make sure that that's like that's on the table. I'm not saying every single one. What I said from the beginning is a majority of the wars that have been fought on this planet have been in the name of a religion, whether that was a marketing scheme or it was the true reason that the war was fought. Religion has always been, not probably 80-90% of the time, has been in the forefront of it. So we have to face that fact, whether you like it or not.
But Leo, I know you want to respond.
Relation between those two things.
Okay.
Well, there you go. We'll go back into open conversation. We're gonna get an academic's opinion. Oh, and welcome back, Marshall. But we're going to add in. Oh.
Mana.
Welcome, Pat. We have been Midnight Ranting. We're talking pantheism versus atheism, and you could tell the atheism versus theism battle is hot tonight. I hope you're doing well. What are your thoughts about the debate, the subject, or anything we've been talking about?
Well, I'll start off by saying I didn't watch the debate. I am kind of limiting my intake of topics on modern day debate for various reasons, which I won't go into in detail here. Beyond the debate, I saw that Amaretto was in need of someone to help her out with magical support, so I jumped in and thought I would help her out as I could. And then the discussion turned to history, so I've just been waiting and this is awesome. So I'll just sit back, and if you guys have any questions for me, I'll be more than happy to jump in.
Hey, Pat, how many times does war in our current world really be? How many times is it based on or within or sided towards religion more than politics or current social construct?
Well, see, I think when we try to say it's one thing or the other, I think you start going into it's problematic to sit there and say one issue is necessarily greater than the other. These are typically multi-causal issues. You can say, if a king goes to war with another king, it can be, dynastic, it can be territorial, it can be financial. But how those kings or governments or societies objectify and rationalize warfare usually boil down to different reasons and different
propaganda. The religion is used as essentially wartime propaganda, but that doesn't make it a cause for the war.
It's the smokescreen. It's
well,
what people see at face value.
Leo, you made a pretty bold statement that historians wouldn't say religion is the cause of war.
Well, no, I meant like in most wars, that does not seem, when we look at the history, while that might have been, religion might have been used to propagandize people into supporting the war, it was, we don't see that it's a cause of war most of the time.
I would say you probably should back off quoting historians, because historians would say religion often is already a pre-existing condition to justify war. Religious tensions usually precede these territorial and governmental disputes, and we can go through some examples. But for the already increased tensions between Islamic and Christian communities, the Crusades would not have been justified or happened. Without the intersectarian rivalries in the First World War, in the regions of Serbia and those regions, those tensions wouldn't have occurred in World War I. Without the Rwandan genocide occurring, without already pre-existing religious tensions between Christians and other communities. These kind of pre-existing conditions thus later can be ramped up and fueled when other governmental, societal, or long-reaching goals such as economic and or territorial concerns arise.
I wouldn't say propaganda is religious based, because it was more of a fact. It was because I know a lot about this because I covered that this semester. So you had the Hutu and the Tutsi clans. The Hutu were typically darker complected, Rwandans, and the Hutus were lighter skinned. When the colonists were there, the Dutch, I believe, they basically made it so that it was better to be, Tutsi than Hutu. Hutus were like bottom of the barrel. So it was more of a ethnic conflict than religious based, because you had Hutu and Tutsi Christians, as well. It was more of the, Hutu trying to get revenge on the Tutsis. And the current president of Rwanda now was a Tutsi guerrilla. So, they were there was a lot of, I wouldn't say it's religious. There was a lot of ethnic tension based upon, the Hutus now running Rwanda because the colonists left and gave it to them. When the Tutsis had historically been in charge over the Hutus. So it was a lot of, clan-based, problems.
But religion was part of the issue, was it not?
We didn't see anywhere, in the documents that we were given on it, that religion was a primary factor.
Well, I didn't say it was a primary factor. It's one of many factors that can be. Ethnic differences can also be issues for societies to go to war. But again, I'm just saying religion is one of several. I didn't say it was the only, and I would never say it was the only. But we do know the demographics after the Rwandan genocide changed as far as religious communities. And we do know that certain communities were targeted preferentially to others, right?
And I want to get to kind of the core of my point I was trying to say before, is that war, like you were talking about the tensions between religions is sort of the pretext for a lot of these wars. And I would say, it's really not so much just the religion, it's the nations, it's the difference of nations, and religion can just be one aspect of that. And in general, wars are declared on groups of people declare war on each other when they perceive weakness in the other one, and there's some reason to attack them on top of it.
But people don't declare war on other people. Governments and
monarchs
and people in power, elites, social elites declare wars.
Well, this depends on what point of history we're in, right? I mean, if you're talking about tribes, it wouldn't necessarily just be like the elders of the tribe.
Why not?
It would be, actually.
Well, you have a small enough group of people. Eventually, everyone could just go, "Oh, fuck those people! We're going to run over there and murder them." You would need less control above them to have that.
No, actually,
it doesn't sound like an organized tribe.
It doesn't sound like a clannish or tribal society. Again, I don't like the term tribe, but a clannish society or one based on matrilineal or patriarchal clan chiefs, right? So, for example, the Celts are a pretty good example of a clannish society, right? Mm-hmm. And as a clannish society, there was a dynastic head who had an elite bodyguard of the best warriors, his retinue, who enforced, his law and dispensation, right? So,
I'm talking about going back in time farther than that, right? I'm talking about like pre-written history. Like
they would probably be the same, I would imagine, where there was some form of ringleader to these local clans of people.
Pat, we have to keep rewinding the clock. We have to keep rewinding the clock, and hope we get to a point where religion does not play a part in wars. Like we have to keep rewinding.
So I don't think you need to rewind the clock. All I'm going to say, what I'm trying to get at here, is that in politics, I think it's much easier to show that one side is right, or at least convince people that you're right. So the less religion you have in a nation, and the more secularism and politics you have in that nation to replace it, the more one-sided nations are going to become. So the more wars and the bloodier they're going to be.
Okay, so you're assuming that there won't be polarization if there aren't two parties to fight over, and so you're drawing a conclusion that seems to me a very negative, very pessimistic one, or even cynical about people in general. I don't hold that kind of view. I'm not convinced that people would be so negative like this necessarily. I think each society has different moral standards on its own. And some value capital punishment, some don't. Like here in Canada, there's no capital punishment. And that's just one example. So, for this to say that this is going to lead to people acting more violently sounds to me like religious apologetics more than anything.
Well, no, I think religion, like I said, it's as dangerous or more dangerous.
But I don't think religion is a
what's the
pacifier
argument
compared
for
to
that?
atheism. I really don't.
We still haven't heard an argument for that.
Well, no, I've said it multiple times. It's that it's easier,
say it again?
I think it's easier to convince someone you're right. You're talking about politics, because politics you can work any.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, well, what are you talking about?
Like, how does politics relate to? Well, knowing what politics is, I don't think it seems like you're presenting a non sequitur here. You're moving to politics, and we were talking about something that I would say is somewhat unrelated.
I'm talking about replacing religion with politics. But
I asked you about that earlier, and you said that's not what you're doing. Or I asked where religious people use their religion as a form of extremism and control over society. You think that atheists utilize politics, and you said no, that's not what you're saying. But it seems clear that's exactly what you're saying, though.
No, I'm saying when the people.
So why are you bringing up politics?
I think if the politics are ideological.
What I'm saying is when you remove religion. Those types of people that get into religion don't just disappear, right? They become political. They move into politics and economics and nationalism.
Aren't religious people doing that already? I would argue most of the nationalistic-minded individuals in the United States are probably extremely right-leaning fundamentalist Christians.
I agree with
I
you.
would argue that most atheists probably don't take that view, even if they are slightly
Wait,
right-leaning.
but you're confusing two things, right? You're thinking about atheism now, but I'm talking about what atheism will be if you get rid of religion. All those people that would be religious.
Wait, what do you mean? If there were no religion, I don't think atheism would really even be meaningful to speak of.
Yeah,
if you could always compare it to what it used to be.
Hold on, stop. So if we get rid of religion, the only reason atheism, like the word or the position, exists is because of theism. If we get rid of religion and gods or God claims, there's no necessity to have atheism.
I mean, you're aware of the concept, so the term would exist. But that's still beside.
Well, of course, nobody's saying that eliminating theism would somehow negate atheism. It would. I think what Oz and myself are saying, and he can correct me if I'm wrong here, is that. But I'm certainly saying that atheism would just if there were no religion. I view atheism as more of a response to religion. So if there were no religion, you wouldn't need the response to it, and atheism would sort of just.
We don't have.
Okay, what's the word? It would just sort of dissipate. It would go away. It would become meaningless and
Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Atheism is the lack of
if there were no God claims.
That's correct.
Not as I construe it. No.
No, that is correct.
If there were
That's
no
what it
God
is.
What do you mean when you say correct?
Then an atheistic people would be a people without a God.
If there were no God,
there you go.
Wait, hold on here. What do we mean when we say that definition is right? Because definitions are not construed in terms of correctness or incorrectness. They're construed in terms of usages. So you could say some people use atheism, and this is true. Some people use atheism to mean that they do not have a belief in gods. Other people use it, and the academics use it to mean the position that there are no gods. And so, according to it's not. According to
That's wrong.
It's not. I can cite academic sources.
No, you're wrong.
What do you mean by wrong? Because definitions are not construed in terms of correctness. What do you mean when you say wrong? What do you mean?
I'm pointing to the host.
I'm disagreeing with you. That's what I mean.
Well, yeah, but disagreeing doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Hey,
disagreeing with me doesn't make me wrong.
Amy, I'm pointing to Amy. Everybody shut the fuck up. I'm pointing to Amy. This is her channel. Amy, what did you want to say?
Thank you so very much. It seems to me that you're alluding to the fact that if religion was gone, that they would just filter into something else. But there's already a spectrum, a political spectrum of atheists. In other words, if the religious conservatives were to go away, there would still be social conservatives. There would still be people who value, in their eyes, I'm trying to see how to steelman this, things like tradition, order, stuff like that. You could find a right side political spectrum, and then it'll just be absent of religion. Now, I think superstition, just in general, just all sorts of views like reincarnation and stuff, that is going to be hard to get rid of just because of who we are as humans. But I don't think it has to go straight to the USSR and all this type of Stalinist stuff. The other thing I just want to point out about things like the USSR and stuff like that, or the extreme, is that they weren't humanists. They didn't have good views of gays and a lot of other secular Western liberal values type of stuff. And so it's not even Western. I hate to use even that word, but Stalin was not a humanist, and he wasn't practicing skepticism or humanism. So I don't think that conclusion has to go there. You could still get authoritarianism with or without.
Yeah, I mean, we could hypothetically speaking, right? All these religious people could become extreme humanists to the point where they hate any group of people that aren't humanists and are willing to go to war and kill them to get rid of them.
I mean, you could, but it doesn't have to go there.
I'm saying extremism, it has more to do with the type of person, right?
But okay, well,
it's something else.
I'm gonna jump in.
Billy's jumping in. Everybody, shut the fuck up.
What's up? I think you are possibly a theist, because when you're in that mindset, you have a hard time then reconciling this. Like you're saying, this is a type of person in religion, and then once they religion, they have to manifest this like mentality somewhere else, and they're going to apply it to politics. But if you came out of like fundamentalism, like myself, I didn't swing into, devotion. In fact, I became more humanitarian. I have more empathy. I have more sympathy for people, and became much more advocate for equality than I did anything in religion. So you can't bestow that mentality and say that they have to transfer it over to something else. That just shows me you're ignorant on people deconstructing faith.
So you don't think? Well, first off, I'm not a theist, but secondly, I think that this means you became more likely to want to start a war with a group of people that were like what you left.
Because empathy tells me I should.
Well, I mean, if there's a group of people walking around murdering people because they're not empathetic, right? Wouldn't you end up hating them more?
No, I think that's where education comes in. I don't know.
You can't educate people that want to kill you back.
Bro,
yeah, that's the argument for why tolerant people are intolerant towards not like white supremacists and stuff like that too. Tolerism does not mean being tolerant does not mean that you have to tolerate people trying to kill you and your family and friends.
Sounds like the beginning of a Disney movie, like where we have to learn that we all love each other, can live next to each other. But okay.
Fuck no,
bro. You've made zero sense tonight.
I have to concur.
So do I. Nada. So I'm gonna zip over here to the comments real quick because they make more sense. And Will said, "Is Oz making the claim that if there was no religion, there would be less wars and violence?" Will, let me make this perfectly clear. Fuck yes, that's exactly what the fuck I'm saying.
I'm not willing to make that claim.
I will 100%. I'll make that claim.
I think that claim is ridiculous. The most bloody wars we've ever had were not religious.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. They weren't religious, but they didn't have anything to do with atheism, so it doesn't help your point.
Well, I mean, they didn't have anything to do with a god, right? That's what I'm saying. Atheism is godless.
That's correct.
Godless.
So yeah, these wars were fought without a reference to a deity.
I was so thinking that
without belief in deities. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, if there's no religion, no, I don't think you guys understood the question. Is Oz making the claim that if there was no religion, there would be less wars and violence? I'm saying yes. If there was no religion, period, on this globe, would there be less wars? Yes. There would be less wars if there was no religion. And I don't give a fuck what you call yourself. If you don't understand how many wars religion has caused on this planet, you haven't done your history lesson.
I would definitely like to give it a chance to see if Oz is right. So let's get rid of all religion and we'll do a systematic study if wars decrease. And if Oz is right, I'll take him out to dinner.
So I want to suggest the third way. We need to construct some sort of secular friendly extreme Jainism and transplant that into everyone.
No, hold on. Before Pat, do I get to pick where we go eat?
You get to pick Ruth's Chris.
Oh man. Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Fogo de Chão though? Like, come on, you can't beat that salad bar.
Oh, I want to switch sides. I want to agree with Jesus over here and say we would have less wars if we got rid of all religion, because the murder rate would be so high from war so quickly in such a short period of time that war would basically end.
But I literally don't understand.
No, that was just me trolling. No, that's not.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I know. I just don't. I don't understand how anyone can look at, and I love. I actually love Pat, and I adore him, and I can't wait for him and Dr. Josh to have an episode on our channel. But I literally don't understand how anyone can look at the wars that we've had on this planet that have been in the name in the name or waving the banner of their religions and not understand that not all, not even close to all, but a majority of them have been in the name of what they believe in.
Yeah, by sheer numbers, I would say that's a very fair statement. I mean, if we go back into antiquity, I think it's very easy to justify your point. But when we look at modern warfare, let's say in the last 50 years, that argument becomes a little more precarious, a little more difficult, particularly when we start talking about modern as in post, 19th and 20th century nation states, right? But if you're talking about antiquity, the area that I study, I think myself and Dr. Josh would fully agree with you.
See, I would agree with you as long as you keep on backtracking from saying religion to beliefs.
I will still say religion. Whoever the smartass said that, I will say religion, belief, faith, all of those things to me are aligned with one with the other.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that's what politics is.
Okay, cool. So I win.
And I think if politics, I think when politics is more ideological, and you've got people who are running it who are making more emotional arguments and getting people riled up, but they have bad intentions. They're leading people to do some really horrible things, and I think that's the more common thing, the more important thing to consider in all of this.
Yeah, but now imagine those people basically being the same kind of person, but having a lot more free time.
Really? More free time?
Yeah, they spend less time in church. They spend less time in fellowship. Where do you think
I had more free time? If I wanted to go to church, I don't have time for it. So,
yeah, but you're not the problem. That's what I'm saying. You're not
this
the
is the problem.
This
is the problem. Checkmate is you're these theocratic Christians and other religious groups that you're talking about that are just being placated by the ability to assemble and congregate with each other. They're the same groups that are going out and blowing up abortion clinics and causing current, so extremists are going to be extremists regardless of their framework, right? So you're saying if they're singing hymns in church and singing Kumbaya that they're not going to be violent. They're going to be violent regardless of what.
I mean, the Muslims, they pray 5 times a day, and the ones who are still going to put on a suicide vest and blow people up, they seem to manage to have time to do that in between prayers.
But what I'm saying is these people will find any reason to do that they can latch onto. And it's more dangerous when you talk about politics like cults of personality and stuff than it is when you talk about just like Christianity.
So what you're saying is a secular government is more dangerous than a theocracy.
Depends on the secular government. I mean, most secular governments are made in such a way where they're actually less dangerous.
Again,
you don't want to live under a non-secular government. Nobody sane would.
Well, I guess it depends on what you define as sane, but yeah, I guess so.
And real quick, and I'm gonna jump off here because I have to go to bed.
And we'll Oz, make that point, and then actually we're gonna go to outros. It's we're at the 2:30 mark, but the floor is yours, Oz.
Oz has been up for like 28 days already, so
like straight.
Yeah, straight, no sleep.
Biddy will tell you, I don't sleep. I don't ever sleep.
That's true.
But since it's my outro, I'll just say
she doesn't have the stamina.
It doesn't have to be, but it can be.
I'll do the outro because I do have to wrap it up and go to sleep.
Well, then in that case, I'm gonna go like this and be all fancy.
Don't do it, Amy. Don't do it. No.
Woohoo! In that case, now I'm looking through names. I'm looking for Oz. I found Jesus. Oh my God! It was so easy.
Looking for Oz and found Jesus. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, don't single it out because Jesus is the way.
Oz, if that's your picture, it looks like you need a shave.
Okay, I'm sorry, Zoe. From normalizing Christianity. I hope you had a good time. And where can people find you if your mind feels like going there? Or what are your final thoughts?
Jesus.live.
Well, if the 19th of this month, if you are in the Midwest, we are everything. You can go to tart.live. Everything's there. We're having our first in-person meetup, like just having drinks, playing pool, hanging out, whatever. Bunch of atheist, skeptic, God-hating, devil-loving, demon-worshipping heathens getting together. That night at
Mockers
6
and scoffers. A lot of scoffing. Yeah.
Yes, tons of it. And then the huge event we've planned. It's August 20th and 29th. For those that can be there, put it in your calendars. We have officially so far Anthony Magnabosco. We have Dave Warnock. We have T-Jump. We have Dr. Josh, and there's Cynthia McDonald, and I know I'm missing one or two right now. But we're going to have our first 2-day event. We're going to have speakers and debates and everything going on those 2 days. Put that in your calendar.
Awesome.
Put it there.
Is that in person or online?
In person.
Oh, nice.
We're at
Yo, Amy, let's go. Let's go party.
Fort Wayne,
All right.
Indiana.
Oh, Amy, we could do that. We could go do that.
Doing a road trip.
Do it.
Yeah, so
I wish I could be there.
and all the details on the tickets and seating prices and all that will hopefully be out in the next like 72 hours is what we're planning. And we have 2 or 3 other guests that we've invited that we're trying to lock down that will make it a complete like 2-piece and a biscuit knockout punch.
Hey,
But
send me the marketing details so I can share it around and help promote it.
Okay, absolutely.
Now, the question is, a 2-piece and a biscuit from where? Because there is a difference.
From Bitten, of course.
Everyone's mama's house.
I was more making a reference to, listen, some fried chicken places should not be fried chicken places.
Well, I was gonna say, I know exactly what you're saying. So there's a big difference between a 2-piece and a biscuit from KFC and a 2-piece and a biscuit from Popeyes.
Bojangles.
Our at least in the Midwest anyway, our 2-piece and a biscuit comes from Popeyes, so it's a knockout punch. It's a knockout punch.
Right answer. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Still want to go to DALI me when we get a chance?
Hells yeah.
Yeah. So last thing I'll say, Will said, Oz, your claim is as irrational as any claim ever made. You have no evidence to support that. Even non-religious nation states, he obviously doesn't know how to put a sentence together, have killed millions of war. Like he did. Will doesn't even know how to put a sentence together. So Will, I love you. I love you. I love you. So first learn how to put a sentence together, then holler at your boy. But there's been a lot of wars put together on this planet in the name of religions, and until you acknowledge that and realize that, I'm done. I'm done.
Woohoo!
Thank you, Jesus.
You so
Praise
very
you.
Yeah, thank you so very much, Jesus.
Really quickly, Amy, I'm gonna jump out. I don't need to do an outro or anything. I just want to let you know I'm gonna bounce out and go to bed.
Have a good night, Leo.
That
Good night,
sounds
take it easy.
good. Thank
Good night,
you so
Leo.
very much, Oz Orzo, and thank you so very much, Leo. And all right, then we are moving down the line, and don't forget to check out Tart.live. Pat, I'm jumping gun here. Pat, we've been having fun. We have been talking pantheism versus atheism. I hope you had a good time. Where can people find you, and what are your final thoughts?
Well, my final thoughts are I really do not understand the pantheism argument or assertion. I would agree with many of you that it's kind of amorphous and subject to a lot of personal interpretation. So for that reason, I don't really see a reason to engage in it. But I'm also not as I'm a little more willing to accept it as a passable belief system, since it doesn't have a lot of ideology or theology associated with it. So for that reason, it's more palatable to me than, say, something like one of the Abrahamic faith systems. As far as history is concerned in war, we can never rule religion out as a component, sometimes a major component, sometimes a minor component. Just like everything, wars are typically multi-causal, and you can find components that are religious in many of those conflicts, not all, but many. So for that reason, I think people need to be cautious when they start saying this war wasn't fought for this and this war wasn't fought for that, particularly when studying ancient societies. And I just want to say thanks for having me on the show. And if you want to get a hold of me, you can find me at Pat Lowinger on Twitter, or the website on Facebook for Society for Antiquarian Studies. And I'll hope to talk to everybody soon.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yes. And we are also being recorded probably this week, and probably within the next week or so, we're going to be having new content from our Talk Skeptic to Me show, having both Pat and Oz. I was going to say as our robot chickens, but as our lovely specimens going up first. Woohoo! And thank you so very much, Pat. And all right, Randolph Richardson. Randolph, we have been Midnight Ranting, looking at the difference between the Pans and the A's, the Pantheism and the Atheisms, as you do. Hope you had a good time. Where can people find you? And what are your final thoughts?
Well, thank you very much, Amy. This is
That's a scoffer if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, a very lively show. I agree with what Pat said about war, and I think what might sum it up, Pat can correct me if I'm wrong, wars are complicated, usually. So there's a lot of different factors involved, and it's really hard to judge it. And I think leadership at the top of the political end of things definitely plays a major role a lot of the time. So there's you can find me at Canadian Atheists, www.canadianatheists.ca. This is an organization we set up to promote atheists, because we think that the demographic of people who don't believe in deities is significant, and we want to see society change in that society stops vilifying atheists just for not believing in deities. So we are making efforts on that. One of the reasons people will sometimes fight about what atheism is and make claims that atheists hold a position when many of us don't. In fact, what I find is the vast majority of us don't. We just don't believe, is that they're trying to impose a burden of proof on us. So that what happens is, especially in debate contexts, I find that many theists they somehow feel it's unfair to be in a debate with somebody who's not holding a position when they are, and they feel that somehow the playing field isn't level. To me, this seems like a wrong approach in such a conversation, because if your position really is correct, then it shouldn't matter if your interlocutor holds an opposite position or not. And so, they want us to take a position so that we end up being put on the defensive. And this is one of the things that Canadian Atheists pushes against, is because taking such a position is optional. We have no objection to people taking that position by choice. We just don't want it forced on those of us who don't take the position. So this feeds into one of the campaigns that we're working on to normalize atheism. You can find out more about it at www.normalizeatheism.ca. It is a gentle and non-confrontational approach that we use. And there are a number of theists who also are in favor of this, including, I think, Amaretto has talked very positively about this a number of times. I also have a special thank you to Tart, the Atheist Roundtable, now known as the Atheist Network Group. Tang. Oz here tonight is part of that, and he has taken the lead on his own to promote the Normalize Atheism campaign. And what we mean by normal is that it's normal in a sense that it's a normal part of who a person is. Some people are theists, some people are atheists, and everybody else in between. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm sure if we asked, we could find out. But this is just a normal part of life, is what we mean by normalizing it, so that people aren't kind of giving us condescension and whatnot. They're just, okay, carry on, no problem. This is who you are. That's fine. And of course, we think the same should be. Theists get the same treatment, of course. Most theists do. It's not a problem in society, from what I can see. Anyway, thank you, Amy, and for promoting this. I've talked a little longer than usual here, but I just wanted to kind of make that point. Now, for pantheism, the idea that everything in the universe is a deity, is one deity or multiple deities, I'm just not on board with that, because again, I'm not convinced, and I think it really is that simple. I just don't have a reason to believe it. I think Deepak Chopra may have some things to say in favor of pantheism, but I'm not sure, because it's really hard to understand him sometimes, because he uses so many complicated words. Thank you, and good night, everyone. Thank you to the audience, everybody tuning in here.
Thank you,
Really,
Randolph.
thank you, everybody, in this conversation. It was a lot of fun tonight.
Woohoo! Thank you so very much, Randolph. And all right, we're moving along. Biddy Buddha, we have been having fun. We have been midnight ranting on Pantheism versus Atheism. I hope you had a fun time. Where can people find you, and what are your final thoughts?
I did have a lot of fun. You can find me on the Atheist Network group. I do the Monday night call-in show, and then just some casual shows with Oz typically. And then you can also find me on TikTok at Biddy Buddha, at Twitter at Biddy Buddha. And I typically don't have a lot to say on things outside of my lane. So I was just happy to be here tonight.
Woohoo! Well, thank you so very much. Yes, awesome to have you on. And all right, we are moving down. Love guides the wise, and thank you so very much, Biddy.
Thank you.
We have been midnight ranting, having fun, talking about pantheism versus atheism. I don't think we talked about pantheism yet. This might be our first time. I hope you had a good time. Where can people find you, and what are your final thoughts? I agree. It's controversial, but I think I'm going to agree. And all right. Thank you so very much. Love guides the wise. If you want to say more or say more controversial things, let me know. But we're going to move down. Amaretto, we are having fun. We are midnight ranting on Pantheism versus Atheism. Hope you had a good time. And where can people find you, and what are your final thoughts?
Well, the crystals are charged. The wand has been blessed. Might be ready to go. But,
Are the costumes ready, though?
Of course. So, happy Pride, everybody. And hey, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it was a really good discussion. And, it is a topic that definitely interests me. And, it was nice to chat with everybody a little bit about it and kind of, exchange thoughts as always. You can find me raging against lesbian separatists currently on Twitter at Amaretto Kitten. No lie. This happens every Pride. And yes, there are now lesbian separatists who, this has historically been going on for a long time, mind you. It's Gen Zer lesbian separatists trying to say that bi lesbians and pansexual lesbians stuff, the split attraction model is bullshit. You know, lesbians saying
So no bisexuality is what they're saying.
no, they're saying that bisexual lesbians do not exist, and it's just basically people trying to co-opt their word. It's basically radical feminism.
Bisexual lesbians, huh?
Which, I mean, I'm a pansexual, like the split attraction model. I'm a pansexual lesbian, if we're being technical.
So you're majority lesbian, but you're also okay to other. Okay, I guess is what you mean.
It's a complex thing.
Sorry, I don't mean to delve deeply. You're mentioning. I'm just asking.
No, you're fine. It's
Okay.
just this is a topic that's like super complex, and yay, it's so fun interacting with the young kids who don't know their queer history. But, anyways, yeah, you can find me currently raging. Look at me, get off my gay lawn. You know, I feel so old now. I sound like my parents, but you know, it's. That's something that comes up a lot anyways, but that's currently what a lot of my Twitter is right now. But we also chit chat on you know, socio-political topics a lot of the time too, and I do like a good old ragging on a Republican once in a while. So you know, feel free to poke me there. And then, yes, the content on Jer is like, I can't wait for the sex ed content. So, yeah, looking at starting sexual education content, part of my channel, eventually. So, along with some other wonderful ranting.
She doesn't have the stamina.
Oh, my goodness. James, stop. I can't even. Good night, everybody. I love you all. Be good to one another.
Woohoo! Thank you so very much,
You
Tamara.
need tremendous stamina.
Tremendous stamina, all the stamina. And all right, moving along. Thank you, Amaretto and Severus. We've been having fun. We've been midnight ranting, pantheism versus atheism. I hope you had a good time. Where can people find you, and what are your final thoughts?
You can't find me nowhere. I find you. I don't have live streams or anything anywhere. Yeah, as far as pantheism goes, I think I still hold the same position I had when I first came in here, because we barely talked about it really. There's no difference between an atheist and a pantheist other than what definition they want to have for the word God. When a pantheist says God exists, they're saying the equivalent of the universe exists. And I don't see any atheists disagreeing with that, like, even if they're a solipsist. It's just what they would consider the universe to be different. As far as the hot take I made on purpose to make the chat lively,
it worked.
It worked. I want to say it really quickly again without the buzzwords of atheism and all the other things. I think it's easier to motivate violent people with political ideologies over religious ideologies, because political ideologies can change more rapidly and adapt, and it's easier to convince people into violence with something like that. That's what I got to say.
I got to say that pantheism is not the same as atheism, because atheism doesn't carry any beliefs. Pantheism does carry beliefs according to how it's defined. So I just wanted to point that out.
Well, I mean, you could easily define it as the belief that there are no gods. Like, come on.
Well, that is interesting conversation. To be continued. Oh, what are you going to say? It was your closer. So, final words, Severus.
So I'm going to say that just like the atheist believes the universe exists, the pantheist believes God exists, because they mean the same thing to the separate parties.
Well, and we will continue. Thank you so very much, Severus. And all right, James, it's been a fun night. Thank you, Severus.
As always. As always. Yep.
What are your final thoughts of all this fun, pantheism versus atheism? Floor is yours.
Well, it was a lot of fun tonight. We had some really good conversation on here, a lot more productive, I think, than the debate was. if you want to call the universe God and that's what you want to call it, and say you're a pantheist, whatever, doesn't matter to me. You're just it's a semantics game at that point. But hey, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But I do detect the little strain of reasoning that says, well, maybe religion, even if it's not true, maybe it's better if people believe it, because maybe it gives people some stability, or maybe it builds structure in society. You could make those arguments, but the thing is, if it's not true, eventually people are going to figure that out, and then everything that you've built up around that comes down. It doesn't last. I mean, it's kind of like the parent telling their child that you better behave yourself because Santa Claus is watching you. And if that's the only reason that they're trying to behave, once they figure out there's no Santa Claus, why would I want to behave anymore? I don't know. It doesn't work. People are going to eventually figure it out, and that's where we're going right now. People figured out, hey, it's not true. So where do we go from there? To humanism. Thank you.
Woohoo! Thank you so very much, James. And all right, with that, I hope you all had a fun time on this episode of Midnight Ranting, Pantheism versus Atheism, or rather a discussion on a belief about the universe being God versus not believing in any God at all.
You want to announce tomorrow's show?
I'm like 50-50, frickin' politics.
Okay.
55. I will be doing a debate on Modern Day Debate tomorrow.
Great.
So check that out. It's me doing politics, even though I'm a moderate. It's gonna
What are you
be.
debating?
It is on the issue of transgender, basically, I guess children is the thing. But that's the tagline.
Oh my gosh. I need to I could debate
know.
that all day long.
Well, let me tell you something.
Oh, we know.
There will be an after show tomorrow. Because, politics. That's going to be a fun debate. And okay, so go check that out tomorrow. And I want to thank my co-host, James W., along with our guests, Leophilius, Cerberus, Oz, Nick, Marshall, Amaretto, Love Guides the Wise, Biddy Buddha, Randolph, and Pat, along with all the lovely people in chat on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and our awesome mods who, where's my heart, make this stream
badass mods,
so
yeah.
great. Woohoo! Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow, or hit that all button icon so you could be part of our live streams. Lastly, if you'd like to help us make more fun content, feel free to check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Amy Newman. I'm Amy Newman, and we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, everyone.
guys.
Good night.
We'll see you on tomorrow night's after show.
All right.
You thought Super Straight was a
Or in
dumpster
the
fire.
chat.
Get ready.
I know.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's gonna be fun, and I love you all.